your spoon. Pot covered in the air. Let the leaders hear. If this is noise, then we join make noise tonight. If this is noise, then make more noise. Noise is power, the people voice. Hey, bring your drum, your whistle, your gun shell clear. Back over spoon, let them all hear. If this is noise, then make more noise. Noise is power in mass. Bring your drum, your whistle, your gun shell clear. Back over spoon, let them all hear. They call it noise, but we call it might. The sound of the people demanding what's right. From the gap to the gully, from the hill to the shore. Noise is resistance, we want more. Pressure, pressure, pressure them. Noise, 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 make more. Stand up strong, people unite. Noise is power, we can fight. Pressure, pressure, pressure them. Noise, 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 make more. Stand up strong, people unite. Noise is power, we can fight. Asian blocks united, strong together. Marching in sun, marching in bad weather. We love Barbados, so we resist. Noise is the weapon they can't dismiss. If this is noise, then make more eyes. Noise is poetry wise. Bring your drum, your whistle, your gun shell clear. Back over spoon, let them all hear. If this is noise, then make more eyes. Noise is poetry wise. Bring your drum, your whistle, your gun shell clear. Back over spoon, let them all hear. Drum in your hand.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, one and all. You are watching the Marcia Weekes Show, and we are coming to you live from Barbados. And what you just heard was the national anthem of Barbados. And I'm holding in my hand the national flag of Barbados. And tonight, guys, it's an exciting night. It's an exciting night. We have a fantastic show lined up for you. Oh my word, you're going to be so inspired tonight, so educated tonight. You know, we do Emma on here. On the Marcia Weekes Show, it's all about Emma. We educate, we motivate, we mobilize, and we agitate. And tonight, just before we start here, I'm going to get in an agitation mode tonight, okay? Before we jump into the education, etc. And let me tell you, right off the bat, we have some amazing guests that's coming on. Apostle Scanterbury will be on with us later in the evening, but early in the evening, guess what? Marcia Hines, one of the major activists in Barbados, she's on tonight. Something major is happening, and so she's going to come on, and we're going to be talking about that. We're going to also be talking about some nurses from geriatric that are being punished. And I would love if any of those nurses are listening and they can call to confirm, but this is what we're hearing. And we did a lot of some checks on it. So, and if you want to call and say, I am a nurse that's been victimized, I'm giving you the number to call me. 236-7000, because they're about victimizing people. And we're going to touch a little bit on Patrick King as well. Good night, Judy, Jilt, Judy, Monica, Teroni Hall. How are you doing? We're going to talk about the police. They need to pay the police and pay the prison officers. Lucinda Aline, Diana Husbands, good evening. Joy and Faith, good evening. Jefferson Sobers, evening. Marcia, good evening. Patricia Green, how are you doing? Matthew B, how are you doing, Matthew B? Wonderful, Matthew B. The march is going to be on the 6th, next week Saturday. Next week Saturday is when we have the march, okay? Next week Saturday is when we have the march. And so I told people to call me on the phone. You heard the phone ringing. Yes. So next week Saturday is a march. So Matthew B, I know you are a blogger as well, and we work together. The bloggers, we work together. We're not going to tear down each other. We're going to work together, right? Sharon Innes, yes, wonderful. Michael Harewood, hello. Alexi Williams, hello. Mashio, hello. Jacqueline Allen, hello. Beverly Prescott, hello. Folks, tonight is so important, okay? I'm going to ask you, make sure you like and you share. You saw what happened there when I was dealing with the racism in Guyana. Listen, them Indians not easy. They took on the whole life. Folks, please, I need you to work with me, all right? So you've got to like it. You've got to share it. Right, subscribe. I don't even ask subscription, but mainly like and share and subscribe as well. Okay, Cameron Harding, everybody, please do that. Yes, I'm doing great, Teroni. I got your message today, but I was a little busy. I didn't get to finish replying to you. Aaron Hunt, hello. And Teroni says that he liked and shared. Hurricane Writer, yes. Loyal opposition, assemble. Assemble yourselves. We've got work to do. You know, the part of the anthem that says, a lyric in the anthem that says that we write our names on history's page. And that is what is happening right now. We are writing our names on history's page. Every single one of us. Every time you come out of your comfort zone, Barbadians, and you do something that you would not normally do. And that's why the other day, some people say you are too harsh with us. No, what I'm doing is encouraging you to make another step. Step out a little bit. Those that have never come to a march, make an effort and come to this one. We are sending a message to the powers that be that say all that we're doing is noise. We are sending a message to the powers that be. These, let me tell you, these are the same people. I heard the Prime Minister saying that that the Caribbean need to watch out because they're trying to recolonize the Caribbean. Who is the they? Did she look in a mirror? Did she see herself? I think she must be talking about herself. Huh? She must be talking about herself when you think of all that is happening in the country and how she tries to shut us up here in Barbados, and then talking about recolonization. She's the main one that is recolonizing people. I have a video from, I want to play tonight from Lumumba and Bongo. We have the clean version. We have the clean version that we want to share with you tonight. But what I want to say to you before my first guest comes on tonight is that, and to remind us and to say to some of you, you might be not even aware of it, is that your freedom is voice activated. Your freedom is voice activated. It's very important. If you go even to a therapist and you're struggling with emotional issues, low self-esteem, etc., one of the first things that they do, or one of the things that they do, is they would give you declarations, things to say. Look in the mirror. They give you mirror work. I've been through those kind of things where you speak to yourself. You speak it out, and they would say, use your mouth. Speak it out. So anytime you find that there's a leader, any leader that is trying to tell you, shut up, don't speak, you're making too much noise. It's a leader that is not interested in your liberation. It's a leader that is not interested in your freedom. It's a leader that wants you to be in slavery. And that's why I say to us, folks, open your mouth and speak. Those nurses don't suffer in silence. That's what they do a lot here in what happens in Barbados. You know that they're depending on silence. But in Barbados here today, our silence means surrender. Somebody told me of one of the nurse of a nurse that they've moved, and the person said, well, the nurse said, what can we do? I just have to take it, and then I just find a way to leave the job. Won't say anything about it. Our silence is surrender. That's why our freedom is voice activated. So when Mia Motley is telling us that we're making noise and we need to shut up, we understand that there you go, colonizer. Whenever she's saying that, point at her and say, colonizer. That's what she is. Because in slavery, you think that people could even congregate on the road? You think that they could even try to, even after slavery, they couldn't be found 2 or 3 of them together. And in slavery, you saw what happened. You revolt and you know what happened. You can't speak out. So any leader that is trying to tell you, don't speak out when you're under oppression, that leader is not interested in your freedom. From the spy bill, that peeping bill, according to Mr. Alwyn Bob, to the Trident ID that is now they're just waiting until elections, folks. And then you're going to be told if you don't have that, you can't get any services. To the immigration bill, the police act, that if you don't stop and help the police, if the police is in trouble and the police calls out to you and you don't help the police, you could go to jail. and pay $10,000. The cybercrime bill, which you would notice is being taken from the computer use bill, use law that they used for Patrick King today. Now, you know that Patrick King, he's one of those that caused me to have to come on here and show my my Bajan passport. But you know what? I don't hold things against people, and it's all about justice. And it's about, for me, it's about doing what's right. And if this had happened to anybody else, I would say something about it, right? But I'm going to say a few words about that. But let me just mention another law here, another thing that they're doing right here in Barbados. Our freedoms are being chipped away one law at a time. Why you thought that they would come 4 days after crop over, when the liquor's still in your head, you're still dancing to your favorite song, to push through on a Friday? Normally the lower house meets on a Tuesday, but they push it through on a Friday. 5 bills. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Huh? And then just the day of Carifesta, the following week, the day of Carifesta, they went ahead and pushed through more bills in Parliament. This government, this mere motley government. And I want all of you from the different islands you are listening to understand the level of oppression that we are living in Barbados, because they're depending on the Barbadians. They're depending on Barbadians not to speak out. I dare you, Barbados. I dare every single one of you. Do something that you've never done before. Have you been to a march? If you have not been to a march, come to a march. If you have been to a march, I want you to bring something. I know it's loud. I'm hitting it hard for a reason. Bring something to make some noise. Bring something to make noise on that street. Your ancestors died so you could make noise, because they could not make noise. You understand that? Up to the Public Order Act, which was in I think it's 1970 or 70 something, under Errol Barrow. That is the most, what's the word I'm looking for? Is the harshest Public Order Act in the entire Caribbean, because they are insisting that Bajans must not make noise. That was under Errol Barrow, the worst Public Order Act. When I tell people that we have to go through so many hoops to conduct a protest march in Barbados, everybody's shocked. In Trinidad, in St. Vincent, I talk to people in Grenada, in Jamaica. We have the harshest, most draconian Public Order Act. These are things that when all of these people who are trying to get into government, we need to make a demand on them. Make a demand that these things change. Take them off the books. Make them more friendly to society, so that we would be willing to speak up. What about the Rastafari community? I'm a Christian. That's my faith. That's the faith I profess. The ones in the Christian community might not want to own me, but that's my faith. It's personal. And in the Christian community, there is sacrament, right? We all know what the sacrament is. We know what the sacrament is, right? In the Christian community, the sacrament is our the bread representing the body of Christ, and then there is the grape juice, or the wine, or depending on where you go to church. And I want those of you who are Christians out there to think, can you imagine you live in a country where you are not allowed to use your sacrament? That's all you've got to think about. That's all you have to think about. And don't try to tell me your religion is a real religion, but the Rasta religion is not a, because that don't even make any sense. The Rastafari community in Barbados, by law, is not allowed to use their sacrament. However, the same colonizer, Mia Motley, the same colonizer, Dale Marshall, the Attorney General, what are they doing? They've allowed those that were our slave masters to come in here and able, they are the ones able and have the funding to get the license to grow marijuana. When these people, the Rastafari community, beaten, sent to jail, demoralized, marginalized, victimized, and they must get nothing out of it, not even their sacrament. Your freedom is voice activated. And I stand with the Rastafari community. And part of their protest is that what they're doing, they decide, listen, we're going to grow our sacrament. Come and lock us up if you want. And guess what? I said, there you go. There you go. Your freedom is voice activated. You've got to do something. What am I saying to us? You look at Rasimba, you look at Lumumba, you look at Bongolites and all of these gentlemen, and you say that's their problem. Let them deal with that. Huh? You see the white community do that? You see them do that? You know, one of my white friend, I was talking to him in the George Floyd thing. And, you know, I have a lot of discussion with them because the church I used to go to had lots of white people in there, of course, you know, they disown, but let me not say all of that, right? But listen, here's the thing. I said to this person, I was telling them about, you know, racism and so on. And he says, you know, you're talking, Marcia, about racism. But, you know, he said, there's something I will never understand. He says, you guys in the black community, this is a white Bajan told me this. He says, you guys in the white community, in the black community, you treat each other like SHIT. That's what he says. I was shocked. It jolted me. But what can I say? We're the first one who call them dirty Rasta. Huh? All that the Rastafarian community has done for us in terms of retention of our African culture, the African part of who we are. And we don't give them no flowers. We don't want to hear them. We don't want them around. I'm speaking generally. And I'm saying, as it relates to their sacrament, I'm not here pushing people, because I know the message, I'm pushing drugs. Listen, I'm talking about sacrament. Allow them to use their sacrament. That's what I'm saying. Or your freedom is voice activated. And we invite the Rastafari community to come out on the march. We are one people. You hear me? We are one. And it's only a matter of time that they come and they mess with you. That cybercrime bill if that cybercrime bill didn't go in the garbage, the same church that said that I should not be doing what I'm doing, if we did not fight that cybercrime bill together as a unit and it's in the garbage can, some of those same pastors would end up in jail for 10 years. or could end up. And the last thing I'll say about speaking out, because I have 4 more minutes before my guest comes in, I want to say this. I do not know the facts of the case with Mr. King. Honestly, I don't really listen to Mr. King. As I told Mr. King, let me have to come on here and bring my passport. I laugh about it. You know, my Bajan passport, because, you know, he wanted me kicked out of Barbados, all of that. I don't hold that. You know, that's fine, because I did say a few things about him too. So, I criticized him and he was angry and he said a few things. But I'm not here to comment on the case because I seriously don't even know anything about the case. What I wanted to watch, though, folks, is this: the timing of this. Let me let that sink in, because I'm trying to show you how corrupt our system is. And we're going to go into that a little when Marcia Hines come on. This is the thing that we're fighting, is a corruption in the judicial system in Barbados. That's my take on this. I'm talking about the timing. I'm not here saying that Mr. Ellis didn't have a case. I can't get into that. I'm not a lawyer. Please understand something. Yeah? I am talking about the timing. Do you realize the timing? You know what this is about? In my opinion, I'm sharing my opinion, my view. I believe that the timing of this, not the details of the case or whether he's guilty or not guilty, but the timing of it has, in my opinion, has to do with the fact that he has started to speak out against this government. This man has started to speak out about the government. Whatever you think of him, as I said, I don't listen. Honestly, people send me the things all the time, and I don't get into it. I am just saying something to you. Watch the timing of these things. And you know what they're trying to do? To intimidate him, for him not to continue to speak. It's what's happening. It's very similar to what they're doing to the announcer right now. Call Star, come and find out where is the announcer. Don't you see? They're doing it to all of us. When Marcia comes on, I would love for her to touch on this, where all they're doing is the slaves that won't stay in place, they hold them up in the public, and then they give them, they lash them, they beat them in front of the rest of the slaves, for everybody else to toe the line and shut up. But don't forget your freedom, Barbados, is voice activated. The timing is what I'm telling you. Some of you don't like Patrick King so much, and you're so happy and gleeful that you can't stop to look at the timing. You see from when this was? Watch it, folks. Election is coming, and they are determined that that man must not say another word. He is too dangerous. Now, I know he flip-flop. I'm not talking about that. I'm here. Hear what I'm saying. And I'm not here endorsing Patrick King either, because I don't know if he's going to flip tomorrow. What I'm saying is, this is what they would want to do to all of us. You hear me? And the same way that people are rejoicing, they will rejoice if it happens to other people, because all this is saying, slave, stay in line. Stay in line, slave. Colonizer. This motley administration is what is recolonizing us. She is the biggest colonizer in the Caribbean. Guys, share up, please. Share up. Share up, share up, share up. Okay, let's welcome Miss Marcia. I always mix it up. Myri Hines. Okay. Miss Marcia Myri Hines. Welcome, welcome, ma'am. You're muted.
How are you? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Testing one, two.
Yes, hearing loud and clear. It's listen, man. I guess you on here. You see all your hair and everything. You get me all fired up. You get me fired up because I will. Listen. I love to give everybody their flowers, right? And this woman
Mm,
here is an
mm, mm,
inspiration
mm,
to me,
mm, mm.
and I won't stop saying it. We disagree on many things, but we agree on a lot of things. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and let me tell you something. They don't want nothing to do with this one here. Because this in Jamaica, we said this one had tear. You understand? Because she wrestled this administration down to the ground and win. You understand what I tell you? So but we're happy to have you on tonight, and I know you have a lot to talk to us about. But I would just love give me a little piece there, even 2 minutes on what I was talking about the voice, that our freedom is voice activated. Give me something, man, before you jump into what you came on here to.
Of course, I will give you two things that I think are going to be delicious.
Uh-huh.
So I want to remind the public of Barbados that I contested the nomination for St. Michael Northwest when Nero was ratified by the Barbados Labour Party and became the candidate.
Mm-hmm.
And Nero beat me 3-1.
Mm-hmm.
3-1 in St. Michael Northwest. And Nero beat me with a list that I had never seen. So basically, the party, everybody knows that politics in Barbados is tied to the party machinery, right? So if you really want to seriously, and I'm talking about this because you're talking about Barbadians' place in salvaging and saving their nation.
Mm-hmm.
In order to understand what it is that you're fighting against, you have to understand how it works, right? And so every candidate in Barbados who is seen to have a serious chance in elections is tied to a party machinery, whether it's the Barbados Labour Party or the Democratic Labour Party, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so at that point in time, I was tied to the Barbados Labour Party, and I was canvassing against, it would have been at the time Chris Sinclair, because that is who was, in power. We're talking about the 2018 election cycle. Yeah. And I thought that I had something to offer, both because of my work with women and girls, but also because at that point in time, I had been in elective politics and working on things like integrity legislation and the changes that we needed to have around the electoral system. So when it came up to that 2018 election, I felt like, okay, I have something to offer. This is what I want to do. I think at that time I had a sense, and I am who I am. Nobody can muzzle me. We already know all of these things. And so I was very clear about some of the challenges around the leadership of the Barbados Labour Party at the time. And I also felt as though I had enough of an understanding, a public understanding. I had been a moderator on Brass Tacks. Before Brass Tacks, there was Tell It Like It Is in the evening. Like, I'd done all of that, right? I'd paid my dues. And I felt as though Barbados knew how I felt, especially about the issue of governance. Right. So I was like, you know what? I am going to try to situate myself in this constituency. For me, it wasn't a matter of coming from the constituency, but it was a matter that I had taught in the constituency for a number of years. Right. So I didn't live there, but I had contributed to the constituency because I had taught in the constituency for a number of years. And the constituency, I think, was excited, right? Like everywhere I went, people were like, yes, Marcia, we know you. You've taught our children, you taught our brother, you taught our sister. And let me tell you, that evening when I went to Ellerslie, nothing could have prepared me for what I experienced. So the list of people that came to vote that night was completely different from the list that I had gotten from the same party machinery to be able to canvass in the constituency. And when we talk about where we are in Barbados now, when we talk about whether we will have another 30 love or this or that, I want people in Barbados to understand clearly that we are living in a real modern day case of the emperor's new clothes. The emperor is naked as the emperor born, naked. But everybody on the road is pretending and telling the emperor that the emperor is not naked. Let us be very clear. All right. And so Nero beat me 3-1. And I will say that until I die, because Nero beat me 3-1. I mean, if Nero beat you 3-1, you gotta take it. Is what it is. You gotta take it, right? And so yeah, like that is like when you talk about all that is happening in Barbados now, Nero love me. What can I say? Like that is the record.
And look at
right?
your contribution. Look at your contribution. Isn't that
So
something?
absolutely. So when we talk about party politics in Barbados, when we talk about the electoral system, when we talk about how it works, let's just be clear. Nero to want me. Like I mean, that says everything, right? When we talk about the Democratic Labour Party, no, and how the party this and this. No, let's be very clear. The Democratic Labour Party, I mean, they're making a lot of choices right now that I wouldn't make. Let's be clear. And we also have to understand that the entire system is rigged. It doesn't start with the Democratic Labour Party. They're not making it better for themselves, but it is a whole conversation that we have to have around the governance of our country and around, just where we are as a nation. The other thing I want to say in relation to the Patrick King saga and what you're talking about, there are some butterflies who go into a cocoon and we are silent. And that stage where we are very ugly and we don't know ourselves and all of these things, it is done in the cocoon away from everybody. And there are some butterflies that become what they are becoming in the public domain.
Yeah.
Patrick King is one of those butterflies who is unveiling itself in a very public way in the public domain. And so when I hear Patrick, when I think of Patrick, that is how I think of him. Some of us step away from the public, and we do that process and then we come back to the public refined. And there are some of us who go through our machinations in public. So it seems like we're, vacillating all over the place. We believe this, we believe that, and it's messy. It's messy, right? And there's not a right way to do it. Right?
Yeah.
There are some people who, like I said, they hide away. They do it that way. And then there are the Patricks and they do it that way. And all of that is just the spectrum of being human.
Yes.
What I will say, though, is that I remember when Patrick had his issues around some of the things he was saying about the Barbados Public Workers Cooperative Credit Union. Much of what Patrick had said about the credit union, not all, but much, I had already said in other fora.
Yes.
Right? Some of the things I will still say about the credit union because I feel very passionate about the credit union, where it is, some of the things that are happening, that kind of thing. Lo and behold, Patrick got a whole defamation suit filed against him with respect to some of the things that he was saying. But they didn't do anything to me. And that is a case of how you ain't nowhere old house live. Right? Because him and I were saying the same things. Many of them are concerns that we have to talk about things that are very deep and important and problematic about the credit union movement in Barbados. But here it is, he gets a whole lawsuit, defamation, this, that, and they didn't do anything to me. And my lawyer was waiting patiently for the documentation that was coming. Now, does that mean that I believe everything Patrick says, or does that mean I agree with everything he says? Absolutely not. But at the end of the day, there's a way in which we in Barbados, there are some people who are supposed to speak. There are some people who are supposed to be able to cock guns at each other in the Parliament yard, right? And we're supposed to know that that is the way that people, you know, again, the cocoon. Some people go into the cocoon, some people don't. Takes some people a longer time, right? Some people are supposed to be associated with bringing yachts with all kinds of things, and they're supposed to go back to their lives after that. And some people make one mistake and then they're supposed to be banished. And you know, our society is a plantation society. I'm sorry, I don't know how else to say it, right?
But you're right.
It's a plantation society, and some people have the full uses of the plantation, and other people, the plantation comes down on them and reminds them constantly where their place is and where the lines are supposed to be and that kind of thing. And this is the paradox that we're still trying to work out in Barbados. It is problematic. So that is my little 2 cents on all that you had to say.
Yes.
As I'm from the person that Nero beat 3-1.
3-1.
What can I say?
No, just not good enough to serve, even though you were teaching the people's children there to read and write and all of that and all the other things that you've done in society. You just were not good enough for the people.
I was not good enough. Yes. I was not quiet enough.
Yes.
Because I'll tell you something too, right, Marcia? And I feel as though we have to tell these stories in Barbados because it is a part of the history that our young generations must know, right? I remember the night that Maria Agard was to be banished from the Barbados Labour Party. I, at the time, was sitting on the National Council of the Barbados Labour Party.
Okay.
And we gathered in the room, and you know, I have to write my autobiography because we're all gathered in the room, and I am like, this is a very curious meeting for a number of reasons. But anyway, let's cut a story short and let's skip to the vote. And at the time that we were doing the vote, it almost felt like the vote had already been decided before we were going to vote. And do you know, Marcia, that history should tell that vote carried, I think it was something like 39 to 1 abstention. And the abstention was me. Because I didn't understand what was happening. And maybe it should have been 39 to 1, you know, like out and out.
Yeah, no. Opposing, yeah.
Right? But I knew for sure that I could not have been the 40th person that voted to put Maria Agard out of the party. Now, at that time, I was also sealing my fate. That was a part of the lead up of being beat 3-1.
Beat 3-1. I was wondering, you know.
And you have to tell these stories because the people of Barbados have to understand when they talk about the great, you know, BLP and everything this is the only party and everybody is coalesced and this and that. They're not coalesced. They're coercively controlled. There's a difference between being coalesced and being coercively controlled. A big difference, right? And our country is a loser. Like, our country is the loser.
Yeah.
I don't know. I watch the things that are happening in Barbados and I'm sad.
But you know, on that note, because I don't want the time to go, because I want to I want to talk to you. I want you to talk about these women and what they're going
Of
through.
course.
And then at the same time, I want you to talk about another set of women, some nurses, because it's mainly women in that profession.
Of course.
You know, so I want us to do that in this segment before Apostle comes on. So go right ahead.
So
Marcia.
real quick, so Barbados is very unique in our makeup during slavery, and this is not something that Marcia is saying now for the first time. I am building on the work here of Hilary Beckles and a number of people who have studied the Barbadian reality during slavery.
Mm-hmm.
Barbados, for all intents and purposes, I'm going to call it, it was a female colony. And what I mean by that is very early in our kind of structure as a colony, Barbados is flat and Barbados is 166 square miles around.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Jamaica. There was no opportunity for us to become maroons, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And so the slave masters in Barbados very early and very quickly realized there's nothing that men can bring to the colony of Barbados that women cannot bring.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference is that women can breed and recreate slaves without them having to come from Africa and,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you risk losing people on the high seas, this, that, whatever. So women can repopulate the slave community.
Right.
And they can also do basically all of the jobs on the colony that men can do.
Mm-hmm.
So very early on, Barbados became a female slave colony. That is, again, that is not my work. That is Hilary Beckles. If you read Natural Rebels and some of his other works, you see how he talks about how Barbados was made up, right? So when we talk now about, you know, the gender relations that we have in Barbados and that kind of thing, and people like, oh, we want to banish you, Marcia, because you're a feminist and you're making the women in Barbados, you know, everything is about men and women. No, that's not what I'm doing. But Barbados has a particular historical record. It has a particular historical reality. And I think that as we move forward to really think and talk about Barbados, what it is, the good things about it, the bad things about it, we have to understand and accept, right? It is almost like talking about Jamaica without talking about the Right Honorable Mosiah Garvey,
Correct.
without talking about the Maroons. Like it is impossible to talk about Jamaica without talking about those things. Likewise, it is impossible to talk about Barbados without talking about our women and where our women have been in the society.
Yes.
And it is important to talk about it, particularly now in this space and time where we have this female prime minister, right? And what women in Barbados are experiencing under that leadership. Because I think that when if we contextualize it this way, we begin to really ask ourselves the questions that we need to ask about where Barbados is. So if you have nurses who are crying out and talking out and being discriminated for that, it is a problem. Likewise, if you have women in Barbados who are going into the court system, the family court system in Barbados on a constant basis, and who are coming out with results from that system that don't make sense, Marcia, we have to begin to ask ourselves what is happening in Barbados. I have said for the longest time, let us stop looking at young men when they get to 25 and 28, and the only thing they know and understand is the gun. Let us start to talk about 5 and 6 year olds in Barbados and what happens to them at that age, right? Since 1998, I started advocacy for women and girls in Barbados about 2000. So I was around the scene a little bit, but as far as I can remember, since 1998, we've been trying to get a dedicated family court in Barbados. We have not yet gotten a dedicated family court. The reason why I'm here tonight is to cry out for 4 women that I am working with for women, Marcia. I come to the nation of Barbados when I need, and you've heard me say this before, the national conscience of our nation. Our nation cannot be conscience less. We have to have parameters. We have to have places beyond where we do not go. Right? And so I am crying out tonight to the conscience of Barbados. And I'm saying to Barbados that when we have families in Barbados that are rocked by domestic violence, by some serious infractions of violence, and we don't have a system in Barbados that can pull them back and say, listen, we're going to use the social services, the court, to rein in this situation. This is where we begin to foster the gunmen of the next generation. Correct. It's not just gun women. It's not just gun women, the women who will hide them. We begin the next cycle of dysfunction right now. Right now. So I have a couple of cases that I'm working on right now. I'm going to give like just features so that the people can understand what I'm talking about without giving away too much. But Marcia, if you have, like I said, we come from a plantation society. And the truth is, we have not reconciled the fact that plantation societies, people leave them with trauma. Men leave them with trauma, women leave them with trauma, and that trauma replicates itself through our generations. Men do not know how to treat their wives. Wives do not know how to treat their husbands. Husbands and wives do not know how to treat their children. That is what we're dealing with in Barbados. That is the reality, right? So, you know, we are breeding the dysfunction. I keep saying this. I don't understand. Please, like if we want a different Barbados, these are the things we have to pay attention to. You have a minister of social transformation, people, whatever. He doesn't understand. He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't listen. He isn't serious. A childcare board, a welfare department. They don't know what they're doing. They do not understand, right? So you have a woman who runs from a house where there's emotional, physical, sexual, and financial abuse. Marcia, all. She has video. She has people from her family, friends,
in the neighborhood
who say to the court, oh God, help this woman. People in Barbados do not usually like to write statements and sign their names. But in this case, you have people who have written and they say, I will sign my name. I see it. I heard it. I know it. It's a problem. Help this woman. Help this child. And you get to the court. You get to the court, Marcia, and the court does nothing. The court pretends as though the evidence that is before it is not before it. As though what it has heard, it has not heard. Right? The court forces the same woman that has left to run. She gone. The court now asks this woman to turn around and depend on the person that she run and left.
The abuser, the alleged abuser. Then
the alleged abuser, to depend on that person to be the one to make decisions about the child. In the context where all of the evidence says this is not the right thing to do. Now, if that woman decides, you know what, I am done with this. I'm done with the court. I'm done with the man. I'm done with all of that. The society will say, oh, the woman does withhold the child. Marcia, the court, the family court in Barbados is dysfunctional. Yes. It is dysfunctional. And I have said this before. We cannot expect families in Barbados to be better than the court. It is impossible for us to do. I have the situation of a mother. This is a second case now.
Mm-hmm.
The mother was removed from the house by the police. Now, police in Barbados seldom. Women just have to cry out. Women die waiting for the police to do something. I am still waiting to find out what is the name of the woman that they found in Shop Hill a couple of weeks ago in Barbados.
Right, yes.
We have not talked about that
We've
woman.
gone on, and
I will not forget that we have a woman who was found on the soil in Barbados that up to now we cannot say she was Sally, she was Jane, she was Alison, she has a child, she has a brother. We still do not know, right? But anyway, you have to cry out. Imagine we had a whole woman who was found dead and it doesn't rattle us. So you will understand the extent to which women in Barbados have to cry out, right? This woman cried out, the police moved her. That doesn't happen. Like, for that to happen, you understand the extent of what she had to be facing. The police moved this woman and left her 2-year-old daughter, in the care of her abuser. The man that was beating the woman, tying her to chairs, locking her in rooms and leaving her for hours at a time. They moved the woman from the house and left a 2-year-old girl child in his care. 5 years later, that woman is still trying to get her daughter from the man that the police saw it fit to move her mother out of that house. And that child, that girl child, has been living with that abuser for the last 5 years at all. How that woman fights in court to get her child back. The court refuses to give that woman access to her child, because it's to the point where now the child is telling the court, oh, my mommy used to give me spoiled milk. My mommy didn't want me. My mommy don't love me. Where you think she get all of that from?
Mm-hmm.
Where she get all of it from? Come on. And when that child now, at 13, we will put her in the government industrial school.
Correct.
And we will allow the police, the people from the child care board. I don't care, I got my receipt so I could talk. You got to worry about them and suing you. And you will come to me tomorrow and tell me, oh, Marcia, we had to cut that out because you can't say that. They will be running, right? The same child care board ones, the lawyers, the police will go up there and sleep with the same children as they please. And then we pretend as a society that we don't know that that's what's happening in Barbados.
But
Marcia,
I mean,
I am tired.
But Marcia, let me tell you something. I know that happens. I know that.
I am tired. We going on now to a woman. You meet a man. Black women have been carrying black men on our backs since slavery. We could come back and we could talk about that again, because I got a little bit of time. So I can just tell y'all, accept that is what it is. But I can come back and I can bring my receipts. So you meet a man and he ain't working, and but you're a woman and you're trying to make a house with it. You're trying to make whatever. You put together a family. So you come and you find in a little house, and you come out to your mother house and you give the credit union your mother house, and you say, you know what, hold this, give me some money, and let me go and put together a little family, a little living, as the old people used to call it, with this man. And the man beat you morning, noon, night, late, beat you. So you gotta run with your own children and say, you know what, I can't do it. I love him, everything, but I gotta run.
Mm-hmm.
You go through the court, everything. The court is aware. It's not that the court ain't aware, Marcia. The court aware of these things. The man, you get a divorce from the man. The court has orders that the man, you and the man separated, everything, divorce, everything. Marcia, the house that the man live in, he refuses to pay the same credit union for, and the credit union now want to take up your mother house, because your mother house is the collateral that you use for you and the man.
Oh my!
And I understand people will say, all right, well, you do it, But Marcia, that's financial abuse.
Yes.
Marcia, any other way in the world The
And
court
this
would
is
skim
this is
him out of
somebody,
that house.
so somebody who is abusing you, you know, who's turned around and physically abusing you.
Marcia, come on. Marcia, if that was Canada, I am telling you, the judge would rule. The judge would pick up that house, sell that house, get the credit union would belong to them, and split the rest between the man and the woman.
Mm-hmm.
The woman would not have to be the one who is responsible for that. In other
Right.
words,
I understand what you're
but
saying.
now this woman is running around trying to stop the credit union from picking up her mother house. And like I said, it's not that the court does not know that this man has been 100% abusive. It's not that they don't know. Marcia, I have to come and cry out.
Mm-hmm.
I have to cry out because we talking all kind of things in Barbados, but we don't understand that our society is crumbling. And our society is crumbling because if you can't even get it right in your family court, Marcia, if you can't protect the women and the children, a society is a society when it can protect the weakest among it. It's children, it's elderly, it's women. It's only in Barbados that you will hear the women, the women, what? The mark of any man anywhere in the world is when he can protect his weak and vulnerable. So you telling me that you got women and children in Barbados sucking salt daily? I want to tell you about the last case, which is a woman that was abused by a police officer in Barbados who was her intimate partner. Beat that woman, threaten her, I could kill you. I will kill you and I will dispose of you and I will never get a day for you because I know what the police is look for and what they don't look for. So try me.
Wow.
Try me, a police officer. Here what I tell you, Marcia, the case can't start up to now because no magistrate in Barbados will hear the case because everybody is saying, well, we used to work with him. We know him, so we can't try the case. Up to now, the Chief Justice cannot get somebody on the bench to hear the case.
Wow.
The woman is under pressure to the point where she had a stroke. 2 weeks ago, that woman was in the hospital, had a whole stroke because of the stress that she's under. Marcia, I come to the country of Barbados to have a conscience when I can't find a conscience nowhere else. I need something to tell these 4 women that I'm working with. I need to have a woman in Barbados who has run. Marcia, she has run. She has evidence. If you want evidence, I could give you evidence, Marcia. The most extreme case of emotional violence I have ever seen in Barbados. A case that could end like the case in Warrens that took the life of 2 children that Barbados does forget. But I can never forget. You remember them 2 children in Barbados, in Warrens, that got roasted just because their mother was given permission to have access to them, not even custody. Not even custody, access. A case like that in Canada would skin up the judicial system. I am telling you, people will lose their jobs. The whole system would have to be recalibrated. Those 2 children died and nobody in Barbados calls their name. Nothing has changed. And now we have another case. The 2 cases, you could put them on top of one another like this and they will fit seamlessly on top of one another. And nobody is doing anything. Marcia, and I have come to the people of Barbados tonight through your show to say, children do not get broken at 15. They don't get broken at 23. By the time you see them picking up the guns, by the time you see them being the ones that nobody can pull back at that age, it has started at this age. It starts with the family instability that breaks them, completely breaks them. Marcia, if we want a different Barbados, we have to get a judicial system that works.
Yes.
We have to get a child care board that understands and knows the patterns of what it is that they are seeing. I am sick of it. I will not stop talking. I want somebody to tell me where to tell these 4 women that I told you about tonight where to go. Because we have been trying. I have been working on these cases since February this year, and I cannot get a resolution.
Wow.
You have a man, evidence of a man almost licking out a woman's eye, stitches, police reports, doctors' reports. You know that people in Barbados don't like to write. And these are women that have reports, they have evidence. So you will understand the extent that it was at. And you left a child in that man's care for the last 5 years. And this child is just, I don't know what to say. She is, the way that she behaves is not how you would want a child of her age to behave.
Right.
That's how I'm gonna put it. And when she gets 13 and she's running around and her name is in the we can't find so and so, everybody will say, "Where's she mother?"
Exactly.
Where's she mother? Well, the mother is trying to get her through the court system of Barbados for the last 4 months now. You're waiting 6 and 7 and 8 weeks to get one appointment to get your child seen by the psychologist at the psychiatric hospital. You have a paradox. I can talk because they can't beat me because I got my receipts. Paradox is completely ill-equipped to be dealing with the level of family instability that we're dealing with in Barbados right now. They do not have the capacity.
Wow.
I say that.
Because that is supposed to be the place. That is supposed to be the place where, you know, cases like these kinds of things that you because as you're talking, I'm here trying to figure what can we do. So you're saying that they're not equipped.
They're not equipped. The level of violence and family instability that we're seeing in Barbados right now, like I said, back when I started in 2000, it is almost like in 2000 we were dealing with child's play. In 2025, we're dealing with a whole complex system. Paradox will tell a woman, when you have a man, Marcia, that duct tapes you to a chair, goes to the bathroom on you while you are duct taped to the chair. Paradox gonna come and tell you, oh, well, you got to parent together. You got to co-parent the child. What? A man that duct taped you to a chair and went to the bathroom on you? And Paradox gonna tell you that you got to co-parent with the child? No, that doesn't work like that at all. That does not work like that. It cannot work like that. When you have an individual who has a complete, it is almost like I will call it a sadistic relationship with their own mother, such that it is almost like that individual thinks that their mother are in a relationship. And you are their wife, and you are on the outside of this situation trying to help this person to understand, but the way that you and your mother relate, that's not normal. And the person is trying to pretend that you are not the mother of your child, but
Right.
his mother is also the mother of your child. You can just tell me them two people got co-parent. Marcia, that is complex, deep-seated mental health issues that you are dealing with. You need individuals who can deal with that level of dysfunction. That is what we're dealing with in Barbados, right?
You know, Marcia, if I could just say this, because I don't want to, don't lose your point there. But I want to say this, that you're talking about the judicial system, and we're talking here about mainly Black women, right? You're talking mainly of Black women right now.
That's predominantly that's what I work with.
But I want to say that, you know, I know there's one a woman, she's Canadian white, and because of who she was married to, they have used the judicial system, Marcia. I mean, they almost have this lady losing her mind over a child.
Mhm.
And she kept talking to me, but it wasn't making, like, I'm like, how could this be happening?
It
I
happens.
also
This.
learned of another one, a white Trini, married to a big, 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 big person here. And this woman has done nothing wrong. But then they connected the white businessman paid whatever they did with the judiciary, right? Judicial
Mhm.
powers, and they took away all of our children from her. The same thing they're doing with this Canadian, white Canadian. So the issue is the judicial system
The
that is corrupt,
judicial
corrupt.
system in Barbados, when it comes to family cases, I have said, and I will continue to say, the judiciary in Barbados. Marcia, this is the most recent. You know me and my books. You know me.
Mm, mm,
This just came yesterday, right? The batterer as parent. Because
yes.
nobody is trying to say that if a man has issues, that he shouldn't have a relationship to his children. The right of a child to have access to a parent is the right of the child. It's
Mm-hmm.
not the right of the parent. But in Barbados, and I say this unequivocally, they could come for me. I don't care. We treat access in Barbados as if it is the right of the father. It is not the right of the father, it is the right of the child. And further, the same United Nations convention that gives the child the access to the father says that the child should not exercise that right if the child is placed in a position of danger. But the courts in Barbados refuse to hear and see the evidence of women. When the mothers say, this is the level of abuse that I have faced. Marcia, I don't have a problem, You have in Canada again, I know about Canada because again, I live between Barbados and Canada. You have men who are on first-degree murder charges, federal drug charges, and their children go to see them every weekend. But there's a center that is set up and there's supervised visitation. So there is somebody who is monitoring that visit to ensure that the bond between the father and the child is maintained, but that the child is not hurt in any way. The child care board in Barbados does operate between 8:30 and 4:30. And on the weekend, they want to be closed. They want to have the luxury of doing whatever it do. The cars that the government pays for them to have, right? They can't go to do a visit on the weekend. A family can get them on the weekend if they need them. We do not have a mechanism in Barbados for children to have supervised access to their fathers in cases where you need that to be able to keep the children safe. I am not trying to separate fathers from their children. That's not what I'm trying to do. But at the end of the day, this thing that we say, where we say a piece of father better than no father at all, is a colonial relic. It's a colonial relic. It is. I am sitting in my bed tonight talking to you right now, Marcia, because I went to pelvic physiotherapy today, right? Because right now I have issues where I have to manage the whole basically bottom part of my body with pelvic physiotherapy as I age because of the injuries that I carry from childhood sexual abuse.
Yes.
Okay? You know that this is not something that I talking about. It's not somebody else's story. Every father is not a safe father. Every mother is also not a safe mother. I will accept that. But Marcia, it's time for we to stop pretending in Barbados. It's time for me to talk about the issues. I am tired.
But let me ask you, where first of all, I just want to acknowledge what you're saying there about yourself, and
I'm
wish you
just tired.
better. I
I'm
wish you
tired.
better, but your body is basically reacting to what you went through. And I'm not a counselor, but with what I do, I've spoken to a lot of young people, a lot of women who have been sexually abused, and that what you're saying is a
It's a
reality.
journey.
Yeah, it's
It's a
the
whole
body.
journey.
The body start to react. Let me
It's a
ask you
journey.
something. Where is now? There's a good question there, because I'm looking here for solutions. I'm saying, okay, so we're putting it. So everybody, you're listening to Marcia. What can she's asking for help? What can we do? Where is now? Where is now?
I don't know. I think that it's better for y'all that live in Barbados to tell me where now is. I don't want to be disingenuous because I've passed through now, and I don't want whatever. I think it's better for you all to tell me. But what I want to know is where can I send the women of Barbados that I'm working with who need to cry out and who need support to be able to get that support. Like that's what I'm about right now, Marcia. I come to the nation where I cannot find justice any other way. I will ride the system. Contrary to popular belief, I ride the system till it breaks down. I think the difference with me is people want that when the system breaks down, I keep my mouth shut. That I am not willing to do. That I am not willing to do. These women in Barbados need solutions. They need help. When these children start to act out at 16, it is too late. They need the help now. They need it now. They
All
need
these
people
women have
to
children.
recognize.
Among these four women, how many children are there?
So we are talking about number one has 2 children.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, the one that her child was left with the abuser, she has 4 children.
Mm-hmm.
The other one has 2.
Mm-hmm.
And the one who was abused by the police officer, she also has 2 children and grandchildren.
Wow.
So, like, there's not one of these women that I'm talking
That's
about
10.
now who doesn't have children.
10. And so that's the thing. 10. And I'm listening to you, Marsha. I don't even know what to say, because since I've been here, this is one of the things, and I've said it to you before, and up to this week, I was saying to someone, I said, one of the biggest things that I'm finding is not having a place to refer women to. I know there's a pastor who has a place for men who are trying to come out of prison, and they're trying to rehabilitate and so on. But we don't have a well, I've never been able to find a place. If you find a place, they probably take 1 or 2 women, and it's full, and that's the
But
reality.
but Marcia, my problem, and again, I've said this already, so I can say it again, and I'm gonna shut up now because I know you have to go to the next guest. If you have a place in Barbados that takes a woman who is being abused for 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
the legal process in Barbados doesn't take 3 months to resolve itself. So that woman still has to come back out of that shelter at some point in time. And if you have a case that is taking 4
Mm-hmm.
and 5 years in the court,
Right.
9 and 10 years in the court, and you only have a shelter that holds a woman for 3 months, there's a disparity, right?
Where they're
If
gonna
you
go after that?
exactly, if you have a woman like mine who has gone to the authorities with all the evidence in the world, friends who have written affidavits and said, I have seen this abuse, I am concerned, family, professionals, and the court is still willing to say, you know something, the child gotta see it, father, it gotta be with it, father, this is what we gotta do, this is what gotta happen. Where are we? Where are we? Do we even have a court system in Barbados that understands the patterns of abuse when they see them? I don't think they do. I honestly, because if a woman was exposed to financial abuse in a marriage, right? And you are going to tell the woman, well, look, your child enrolled in a private school, and because the child enrolled in a private school, and the man willing to continue to pay for the private school, it got to go to the private school, then you don't understand what financial abuse is. And you do not understand how that man will continue to use that opportunity to pay for those school fees to terrorize that woman.
It's
what
very
are you doing? And the child is in the middle. The child is in the middle. You're trying to tell me, Marcia, there are so many children in Barbados, far more, that go to public school. So what are you trying to tell me? That because you have to take this child out of private school and put it in a public school, that its life is done? What are you saying about public schools in Barbados?
Yeah.
The majority of schools that all the children in Barbados go to. Marcia, I am tired. We are doing too much talking in Barbados. We are doing too much talking because you know what? In Canada, that individual will not even have parental rights to that child anymore. Period. And I'm not saying that Canada is perfect, but what I see in Canada is a society that is working on breaking the systemic dysfunction in the society.
Yeah. In some circles, they call it generational curse. It's like you
have to. They are breaking it.
Yeah.
They are breaking it.
We have 10 children. There are 10 children here. And I mean, this 10 can be multiplied in so many, so many times, that's living in some serious situations here. And as you said, we are growing. It's a cycle. We're growing dysfunction. We're growing dysfunction.
We are.
Folks, I know that a lot of you are listening. Some of you, I know my people. I know you're listening. And if you can come up with anything, and I can contact you, I can give them your number, Marcia. If anybody contacts me, in what we can do, there are 10 children that's associated with these situations here, that she outlined. And
anybody from welfare, childcare board, the court itself, because I've written letters to the court, they just never respond. I don't come here first. When you see me come here, I have exercised every other option. I don't mind if they respond. We can talk. We can try to be reasonable. We can hash it out, but I will not keep quiet. I will not. I have, in 2 weeks' time, I'm going to do a conversation in Canada, and I plan to make the state of women and children in Barbados the focus. Nobody don't come and tell me that I crying down Barbados, that I ain't patriotic. I do not know how else to get help.
Tell it out.
Everything. I am talking everything because it needs to stop. It needs to stop. It is not fair. It is not fair. It is not right. We cannot continue like this. So anybody who has a solution, I'm happy for them to reach out through you because I'm looking for a solution.
Yes. Folks, you heard that, and everybody knows the number. I don't know if Dave can help me to put the number on the screen again. 236-7000. Yes. Please reach out. Right. Please reach out to us. If you have, we try to find solutions here. And even if what you can do at the moment is to pray, but we want to obviously move it beyond that. And so if you have any kind of solution, I know people are moved by what they're hearing. Please. But before you go, Marcia, I want to have you on the program here as we talk about some other women in Barbados. And these are nurses. So it was brought to my attention today that there are some nurses that are being victimized. They're being victimized. These are nurses that work at the geriatric hospital. So, Marcia, I don't know if you remember when there was the issue with scabies,
Of course.
right? Now, from what I'm hearing, is that the nurses, there were nurses there in that period of time who said to the whoever's in charge of the hospital, the head nurses there, that you can't put those who are infected with scabies with the other elderly people that are not. Okay, because remember they had come out with some, first of all they had denied the whole thing that it was happening, right? But then they were mixing people, and so the nurses said, and they spoke out against it and protested against it and said, no, you cannot. And furthermore, you haven't talked to the nurses about to protect themselves and all of that. So everybody's being endangered because you're mixing up sick people with people who are not sick. I mean, that's all. Would you believe it's been brought to my knowledge that it appears as though they are now going to punish those nurses that spoke out? Think about that, Marcia. So here it is. Nurses are trying to protect the elderly patients at the geriatric hospital. It is now being alleged that they are being punished for speaking out. And you're hearing nurses who are associated with a particular union that normally speaks out, that we want to call the name of that union, right? That it is being said that those nurses are now being punished. So this week, how are they being punished? This week, or only yesterday, I am being told that nurses went to work at the geriatric there in town, the one in town, and they were told that they're going to be transferred to St. Lucie. Here it is, Marcia. These are women. They don't drive. Okay? They work they have night shifts. They know these people are working at the one in town for years. That one woman, she's almost 60. This is what I'm being told. So that's why I said, if there are nurses that can call and let me know that this is what is happening. I'm hearing that nurses are breaking down crying. They have decided that because these people have spoken out, it's now being alleged that they are being moved, being transferred. Some are being sent to St. Lucie, some to St. Philip. On what basis? Why? Why so far it's the ones that have spoken out?
Again, Marcia, I think that we have to make sure that we are very clear about our history in Barbados, because history that is not known is history that will be repeated. And so we have to go into the 1930s era.
Yes.
And we have to look at that piece of the Public Disorder Act, I think it was called.
Yes.
That was passed, and the mechanisms of that act. Because the mechanisms of that act have continued to be used at various aspects of our history to stop us from being able to speak up and speak out and change our experiences as Barbadians, right? Nursing in Barbados, teaching in Barbados have become feminized professions. So there are professions that carry a big responsibility for what we call care work, right? So you white people, you hug people, you support people, you feed people, and all of those are jobs that are associated with things that we are supposed to just do because we're women and we're nurturers and this and that, right? But what happens is that those professions then become undervalued and devalued.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Barbadians have to be very clear, and they have to understand that that is what is happening. So that when we talk about our teachers and our nurses, that
Yes.
we do not feed into a narrative that helps to continue to make those people that we can be, that we can treat like less than professionals.
Yes.
Put it that way, right? When I had all of my children within the Queen Elizabeth Hospital system, you pay a consultant. You're supposed to have private care and that kind of thing. But let me tell you something. It is those public midwives. It is those women who are working in that hospital as public nurses, as don't mind that you pay a doctor private and this and that. Sometimes you deliver the child and the doctor that you pay $2,000 or $1,800 in fees, he don't even show up.
Right.
It is those
Nurse, yeah.
midwives,
Mm-hmm.
right? Nurse Daw and them women who used to run the delivery section of the hospital and make sure that people receive care. And we respected them and we revered them as Barbadians. And because of the rhetoric of this government, which is really trying to divide us and separate us, is the nurses, is the custom officers, is this one, is that one. They are doing the classic divide and rule, right? We now believe that we should come out and speak out against our teachers. What are you talking about? Marcia, when I was a teacher, I used to go to school with 2 bags in 2 different hands. One had in books and one had in food to feed the nation's children. And there are still teachers in Barbados to today who are doing that. And we get caught up in this narrative of the government about teachers this and teachers. Let me tell you, by the time some of them teachers get to that term's leave, if they don't take it, they go crazy. They have children living at the mother, children living in their house. They're feeding children, they're giving children money, they're buying books for other children, they're buying papers for other children. We need to, as a society, begin again to revere our teachers and our nurses and start to speak out in support of them so that the government cannot unfair them.
That's it. That's it, Marcia. And that is why I'm bringing this to the people. Because as I started out the show by saying, a lot of us at times like to say, well, it's not me. I am not a nurse. And even if you're a nurse, I don't work at the geriatric and I'm not being transferred. You
It's
understand?
not just the geriatric though. They're doing it to the nurses in the public health system too, in the polyclinics. One time you had a baby at the hospital again, the nurse will get your information. The nurse come and see you and baby. The nurse look to see where you got baby sleeping. The nurse come and check to see if you're doing your 6 bath right. You know what I mean? Those things we can't get nurses in Barbados to do anymore because there's no planning, right? So there's a huge shortage of nurses. And I guess the ones that come in don't know, I guess, how our system in Barbados was set up, right? And then, like you are saying right now, you moving people here, moving people there. If I say something, you move me there. So a transfer, it has always been a mechanism, really, that we have used against people. Let's be honest. Like, this government may be, they may have refined it, but always in the public service, since I have been there at least, and I started to teach in 2000, it has always been a mechanism that is used against the people who dare to speak out.
Well, actually, this person is saying here that it says, Marcia, I'm a nurse at the geriatric hospital and we are prohibited from speaking publicly to the media. But every word you're saying is true. This one says no criteria was given to the nurses for transparency on why they were moving them. You see?
But the teachers, Marcia, I heard Alwyn Bab on your show a couple of days ago speaking. The teachers are experiencing the same thing. So I feel as though when we're looking at this issue with the nurses, We can't look at it as just the nurses. This is what is being done in the public service to scare people into submission. If you look at the Public Order Act of the 1930s, it is something that has been with us from the time that we have had a revolutionary and a nationalist impetus in Barbados. So we have to understand what we are fighting so that when we are fighting it, we fight it the right way. People who speak out in Barbados, people who have the audacity to say, this is not right, have always been the people who are the ones who don't get appointments, the ones who are constantly transferred. So I am saying that even as we support these nurses, and we should support them, right? We have to understand that what we are fighting is one of the mechanisms through which they have kept the status quo, the politourgeoisie, as I call it, in place in Barbados. So we have to ask ourselves as people, what are we going to do about that? Where are we going to stand up with the nurses and teachers in Barbados? Because people talk about, oh, you can't march for everything. Yes, you're going to march.
You have to.
I march some more. I march again and keep enough noise and carry posters and placards and talk some more. I march. We cannot stop. We cannot stop because at the end of the day, we have to continue showing that the things that are happening in this country, that we are not happy that they're happening, right? And we have to stop joining this government to dismiss our nurses and our teachers in this country, because that is bedrock. When you're talking about bedrock, those people, and I am not saying that you wouldn't get, a nurse who would answer a little frustrated tone one day. Yes, of course, they're human, right? But by and large, those are the women who go above and beyond. And I'm saying women because disproportionately Barbados nurses and teachers are women. And they have raised this nation. And they have continued to carry this nation on their backs.
Yeah.
So...
yeah, somebody is saying here, I'm reading the comments because I've asked people to respond, and some they seem to might have been, I don't know, seems like this person is a nurse as well, saying it could not have been genuine because they would have been zoned and they would be sent close to where they live and not to the top of Barbados where they live in another, because what they're saying is that they have to, they have to commute. And to leave from Bridgetown to get to St. Lucie.
Really offensive. What makes it really offensive is that we had a nurse who was attacked outside of the district hospital in St. Philip.
Correct.
And the government has swept that under the national carpet, right? That we can now walk over because it's actually almost as high as Mount Everest. Everything that they can deal with, they push up under that national carpet, right? That nurse was attacked, almost lost her life. There was a woman who came on brass tacks and talked about how she was targeted as a nurse by a man who, I guess, just decided that she shouldn't be a professional woman. We're not talking about those kinds of things, but you're going to take a nurse that lives in Christchurch and you're going to send her to St. Lucie?
And St. Philip.
That's crazy. Like, what are we going to do about that as Barbadians? What are we going to do? What are we going to do about that? Because it's unacceptable. And it's unacceptable.
What I'm hearing is, it's either some of the nurses, my understanding is that there was one nurse who said, well, I can't do anything, as well as there are nurses who some of them are crying because they're afraid.
They can't do anything.
But I'm serious. This is what they're thinking. If I spoke out and it got me this, why should I speak out again? That is the thinking.
Marcia, I feel as though we have to break down our marches into pods that will go in front of the district hospital on given days during the week.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to be willing to stand there or sit there, sit-ins with our placards. And we have to support, because you are a nurse who is going to get transferred for saying that they shouldn't mix the patients who had scabies in with the patients who don't. That's common sense. Like,
Exactly. That's their training.
what is going on?
One nurse said one nurse. It was reported that one of the nurse was saying, "But this is my training. This is what I'm trained to do." Somebody is saying here, another one seemed to be a nurse saying that weeks before the outbreak, they were all assured by their PNO, right, that they will be all be going to the new. Okay, they have the new hospital that is near Combermere there. They would all be going there, but no, because they spoke up. Because they spoke up, they went by their training. It is now appearing that that is why they are moving them to go to punish them. Go down to St. Lucie, go down to St. Philip, right? And they're no longer going to be going to the new hospital, which will be closer to where they live. Isn't that interesting?
Okay, so let me raise something. I mean, you did say that some of these nurses are in their 60s and that kind of thing. But when you have a woman who is a nurse, who may be herself a parent of a child, and you are sending that nurse from Christchurch to work to St. Lucie, coming back to what I'm saying, because we're talking about the experience of women in Barbados, right? Now, if you send a woman from Christchurch to St. Lucie to work, let's say she has to get to work at 8:30, she would have to leave home by 7 o'clock to be able to get to St. Lucie.
Yes.
And then if she leaves at 4:30, then she's gonna be getting home by, let's say, 6, 6:15. So then when that nurse is not able to provide care for her children, or let's say she has elderly parents or whatever, we're gonna turn around now and we're gonna blame her. We're going to talk about the women in Barbados and how they don't want to be family people and this and that. But Marcia, oh my goodness, you can't be everything. You can't be everything. Like, what are we doing? What are we really, really, like, how are we planning our society in Barbados to be able to support people and the realities that people have going on? Like, it is just, I cry for my nation.
Yeah, and we ought to. I know we've gone over. I see my other guests there, but I
I'm
just want
sorry.
to. Yeah, no, but this is good talk, and everything came together so well. Marcia, once again, thank you very, very much for coming to the show and for highlighting these issues. And I'm hoping that with all of us collectively, as a collective mind, that we'll be able to come up with some kind of solution, some ideas for Marcia. She's not well and she's doing this. She reminds me of myself because she's committed to it. And so if anybody out there, you're right, Marcia needs an entire night. We need to work that out. What if anybody out there, you have any ideas of what can happen to these 4 women and 10 children that are in these abusive situations? We're talking about financial abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, all kinds of abuse, and not getting anywhere with the judicial system. If you can think of anything, let us know. All right. Well, Marcia, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Okay. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Oh my goodness, folks. Listen. This thing will make your head hurt you. This thing will make your head hurt you. But let me just bring in Apostle Canterbury. Just before he comes, folks, I need you to share. I think I'm still on Facebook, right? I'm still on Facebook. But we need you to like. Can you like for me? Take a moment and like. Very important to undo some of the reporting that some of those East Indians did on my show. They do this a lot. You have some wonderful East Indians out there, but then you have some of those that are trying to be, racist. And they do these things. Luckily, it's not a lot of them. East Indians are beautiful people, wonderful people. They're in Guyana, but some of them, they do a lot of nonsense. So I need you to just, if you're on Facebook, just like it, please. Like the show, like it, take a moment and do that and share. Like and share if you haven't done that yet before we go on. Yes, thank you, Beverly. Thank you, Beverly. Go ahead and share and share if you didn't before we move into this other segment. Well, I want to bring in Apostle Canterbury tonight, and there's several issues that we want to talk about, and I just setting this up for Dave to be able to find the stuff. Well, we're going to talk about the prison. There was an article about our prisoners and our police officers who they served in COVID and they have not yet been paid, right? We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the Prime Minister, her speech in her big talk about Barbados being recolonized, and we have a video that we want to watch from Bongo Lights and Lumumba. We're going to watch that video tonight and have the Rev comment on it. And then there's another video of a young lady who was trying to prepare for Carrie Festa, businesswoman, a returning national. So we're going to deal with those three things in particular. Let me just welcome Apostle Canterbury. Welcome to the Marcia Weekes Show, sir.
Well, thank you so much, ma'am. It's always a pleasure to be here with you, and thank you again for the invitation to be on the show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is. I mean, we're privileged to have you on, and thank you for your commitment on a Friday. I know we can count on you. Mr. Bob wanted to be here, but he had some challenges, but I know he's watching the show from where he's at. He would have joined you because you guys kind of work very well together. So he was going to be on tonight. But Apostle, we have been talking on the show tonight about the public sector and how people are being treated, how workers are being treated, how employees are being treated. And I can't help I can't help but remember 1937 when through the riots that were held in 1937, what we saw happening is a lot of labor laws were put in place to protect workers. But here we are, it's 2025. We're seeing millions of dollars, poof, just being spent around us. Lots of money being spent in Krapover, to put up the amphitheater and so on. But now, days later, about a week later, we have Carrie Festa, where we're told it's millions being spent, but yet still. The prison officers, sir, who worked in COVID and were told that they were going to be paid for the service they did in COVID. The police service, members of the police service are owed money.
Yes.
You're a minister of for better words, I say religion, but you're a man of faith. Where is the justice in this? I want to just take it away, sir.
I'm just going to, just throw my best punch tonight. The reality is that, number one, this administration lied openly about what they just needed to get the job done that COVID was designed to do. That's all. And they got everyone to buy into their propaganda. They got everyone because of the fear that was widespread about COVID and people dying from COVID and all of these different things that really got individuals on the edge. And they harnessed that fear. They harnessed the fact that Barbadians are people that, traditionally will bite the bullet and do what's necessary to safeguard the nation during a pandemic like that. And so many individuals put their lives on the line for something that that now we realize that it was a huge hoax in the midst of everything. We had, matter of fact, even some of the very own COVID unit people still haven't been paid. Those individuals, some of them haven't gotten their monies either. to running around harassing Barbadians and still did not get money. So, that $500 did not go to every individual. I know persons who worked during COVID who did not get the $500 and the little button that they were giving out. So a lot of this that we're seeing, you can see that there's really no commitment of the government to follow through on their word. And we saw that even with the 4 young men that came forward to the media and said we entered into an agreement with the administration. We kept our word, but they did not keep their word.
Yes.
So it's going to be very difficult for, probably after watching this show, all of a sudden the monies may show up, but they know how to manipulate the masses. They know very well how to do what they do. And when you look at the reality of this, you just had crop over millions of dollars, and then right after that, you jump right into Carrie Festa again with all of these things. So it's a lot of distraction that's really going on. But I have to say this, and I have to be, unless the prison officers and those individuals within the police service and all of the nurses, all of the military staff, all of the individuals, even the very COVID unit people, if they don't get legal representation, they're not going to get that money from the government. Because COVID is over now, going into 4 years. So, seriously, to 4 years after this thing is over, that we still have to be looking for money is crazy. But the fact that they're talking about it should send a very clear message to the government, and it should send a very clear message to Barbadians that this administration cannot be trusted. Okay, so if you're going to put so many people at risk during COVID and don't compensate them, this is a very serious matter. Very serious matter that I think Barbadians need to understand. And there's still so many people out there that would put their necks to the chopping block for this administration. But take a look at what they're doing, or what they've been doing to individuals who went out there during COVID and did what they had to do because they believed that this government was really trying to protect Barbados. And it's what, half a million?
I was muted. Believe the word of the government. That's the thing. And we've been showing Barbadians time and time again, Apostles Canterbury, that the government cannot be trusted. We have been showing this to you. Look at what's happening. These are protective service providers. Hundreds in the protective services are still without long promised COVID-19 pandemic pay and allowances. They are owed up to $500,000.
$500,000.
The estimated budget for Carrie Festa is $4 million, our tax-paying money that was blowing up before our eyes. And they couldn't take up $500,000 to pay the prison officers.
Come on.
Think about it.
I have to go back, and we have to thank God for individuals like yourself and Mr. Franklin, who at the time was in Parliament, and when he caught the change of the word from spouse to partner, and all of these are things that are being done secretly, surreptitiously to undermine the good governance that the people of Barbados should receive. And as I said, we're not going to know everything, but the day has to come when we see the back of this administration, and only then we are going to find out all of the things that they have signed on to and why they have to function the way they're functioning. I personally know that they're not coming up with anything. They're following somebody else's agenda, and they're especially Africa's agenda, because many of them now believe that Africa needs to colonize Barbados. I'm not in favor of that at all. Okay, I think Barbadians and Barbados needs to charter a course towards a vision where its people can be blessed and prosperous and successful. But when you see this reality of a government making promises and not fulfilling their promises, Bajans like to tell you that a promise is a comfort to a fool. So evidently our police officers and our prison officers, our nurses, and all of these individuals, they're fools, because the chose to believe the word of a government that has proven to them that they cannot and they will never fulfill their word. If you cannot, my dad told me as a little boy, he says, if you can't keep your word, you're not a man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? My biological father told me that. He said, you're only as good as your word. Okay?
Correct.
And now that we have come to a place where we've seen that this administration cannot keep its word, then my personal belief is that it's time for them to go. We cannot have those kind of people leading us as a government.
Yeah. And they're saying here, some nurses are telling me that their nurses, this government is just doing nonsense. Well, the prison officers are speaking out, and the police service, they're speaking out, but the nurses at the geriatric are still owed hazard pay since 2020. So nobody has been paid. So you're telling me that none of the nurses, is it just the nurses, those who are listening at the those who are nurses, you're listening, it's just the nurses at geriatric that have not been paid this hazard pay since 2020? Or is it all the nurses?
There are nurses at the QEH that have not been paid for COVID either. I know that for a fact.
Wow.
Okay? I know that for a fact. I'm not telling you.
What is the union doing? What? So you have prison officers. Barbados, listen up. I want you to listen up. This is the government that tells you that they care. You have prison officers that are owed up to $500,000. They probably owe another $500,000 to the police. What about the nurses?
Okay.
And all that is happening, with money's being borrowed, and we're seeing money being spent, and we're not paying these protective services. This is ridiculous.
You just got another 75. You got another 92 million. You want to tell me that you can take half of that and just take care of your people? I mean, why are the sanitation authority workers striking? A key entity like that is striking because they're not being paid. I mean, these folk are risking their lives. Okay, let me say this. I was talking to a lady that works with the MTW on the road, and she was telling me, about the different things that they have. Some of them are now buying their own equipment to do the work.
Who's this?
I was talking to a lady who works, with the MTW cleaning the roads and stuff like that.
That's what I'm asking. You're serious?
Yeah, I'm very serious. Okay. Showed me her own stuff, her own cutlass, her own file and all that. I said, to the point, I said, the shoes that you're wearing, I said, did they give those shoes to you or did you buy them? She said, no, we have to buy our own shoes. I said, you're kidding me. You're working for, you should be wearing protective wear. Okay? I said, you need to talk to people about that. You need to talk to the individual about that. She told me when she did, they said, well, that's a good point, but we got to go to the top. So you're not taking care of your people. You're not even doing the things that are necessary. As a matter of fact, from one individual at a certain level there told me that one of the issues is that the government has not fulfilled its commitment to a number of the entities that supply them with equipment. So they're not getting any more equipment until those bills are sorted.
Hold a second, Apostle. This is being, in Jamaica, we would say this is like somebody running a patty shop. They're running the country. They're running the country as though somebody that is running a little corner shop. You're telling me that based on what you're saying, that people who supply equipment, why these MTW workers have to be buying their own equipment because the government has not been paying? They have not been paying their bills, and so therefore the suppliers don't want to supply them anymore. What is this? Where do we live? What's going on here? That
was pretty shocking, when I heard that. pretty shocking when I heard that, because, you know, it tells us that this administration is only very good at borrowing, but it's not good at paying.
You're right, because they are. But I love that they are borrowing, But look, our police,
They're horrible peers.
the
They're horrible
teachers.
peers.
Isn't there a pay there for the teachers? The term limits. Is it what's it called again, Apostle? The teachers, Mr. What's his name, Bob? If you're listening, and you can tell me what is it they owe the teachers. It's
Okay.
not term. It's a term.
Term leave.
Term leave.
Right. Okay.
Term leave. Yes, I said it
Yes.
wrong. Term leave. That it is designated by law, but that this government is refused.
Yeah.
Is refused to give it to the teachers. So you are oppressing the teachers, the police service,
Right.
the prison service, the nurses. Oh my goodness. What is happening here?
I'm going to tell you one particular information from one particular nurse that I spoke with during COVID, who told me that in relation to what was happening at the hospital, and told me that there were several of the nurses at the time, that they told them that they had contracted COVID and they were not allowed to go home. Nurses that were not allowed to go home to their families and to their children. They had to stay in the hospital for 2 weeks. That information was hidden. A lot of them that were supposed to be paid for taking care of the nurses at the hospital during COVID, they haven't gotten their monies either. So, and this is information that I know firsthand, not hearsay. I know this firsthand.
Yeah,
so,
Dave, hurry and move this off the screen. It's page 4. We're going. I don't want to be advertising this. I'm sorry.
Right.
Page 4. Page
Right.
4 of the same thing, but just move the cursor down a bit to 4.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So,
I'm sorry.
This administration is a fantastic borrower, and the Bible reminds us that the borrower is a servant to the lender.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're seeing this on a daily basis, where they know where they want to put monies to make them look good, but not monies to make sure that those people who provide the necessary services in Barbados are adequately taken care of. So it's a very unfortunate situation at the moment.
Yes. Let me just read this. That is an article in Barbados Today. Okay. I'm reading an article for Barbados Today. And it says, in every modern society, there are professions that hold up the pillars of public life. Nurses, like we were talking about, police officers, right, soldiers, and fire officers are the workers who show up not just when it is convenient, but especially when it is not. They are on the job during hurricanes, during crisis, and yes, on public holidays when most of us are at home relaxing or frolicking with family and friends. It is against this backdrop that the recent call by the Congress of Trade Unions and Staff Associations of Barbados for fair and adequate compensation for protective services workers and nurses should not only be heard, but acted on quickly and decisively. At the center of C2SAB's demand is a simple principle of fairness. C2SAB is calling for double time pay for nurses and members of the protective services who work on the nation's 12 statutory public holidays. This request is not radical. It is not outrageous. It is rooted in common sense and basic labor rights, and it is already something most other workers receive. Presently, these essential public officers are compensated with time off in lieu for working on public holidays. In theory, this may seem like an acceptable arrangement. However, in practice, it is inadequate. As C2SAB President Ryan Phillips rightly noted, due to chronic staffing shortages, the 24/7 nature of essential services, these lieu days are often delayed, denied, or taken under duress. The The result is that many nurses and protective services, the police, the prison services, the soldiers, etc., personnel, they end up effectively working holidays without receiving any real compensation. This is not only demoralizing, but it is also unjust. Let me
Yes,
read
ma'am.
that. It's not from the apostle or myself. This is not only demoralizing, but it's also unjust. And that is why, apostle, one of the things, this is one of the areas that we are going to be marching on September 6th, next week, Saturday. It's not just the bills. We are going to march on these issues concerning the protective services and our teachers in Barbados. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, this administration is absolutely unfair to the way that these services and service persons are treated, and that stems from, you know, the fact that they have demonstrated that Barbadians and developing a system to keep your people happy and to follow through on your promises. They're not very good at doing that. So we're going to see more of this happening. We're going to see more broken promises from this administration, because not only are we seeing it at the level of the leadership, but we're also seeing it at the level of those who work within that administration. And you don't seem to have any person within that administration to come to the public or to have a press conference. You notice you have a government where nobody else can have a single press conference by themselves. The AG, you know, can't seem to have a press conference. Everybody else has to be monitored and scripted and all these different things. And nobody seems to say, look, I can't be a part of an administration that demonstrates that we are liars. We can consistently stand in front of the people and lie. You know, I don't seem to have the backbone to say, no, these people need to be helped. We are borrowing millions upon millions of dollars, you know, consistently. And yet we can't find $500,000 to take care of these individuals who've done their work already, done, you know, human service, because we didn't see any of the politicians out there, you know, at night, you know, doing the work. We didn't see them, you know, like all of them went into hiding. But now those individuals who went up there and did the work and were promised that they were going to be paid. Why? This is 2025. Some of them were to be paid since 2020. Why is it that can you understand, 5 years later, you're still in a position where you have not fulfilled your promise to these individuals? Something is wrong, really seriously wrong with this administration.
Very wrong, very wrong. When you go up and you see, you know, I mean, they created this Carifesta village, Apostle. And I went up there last night because we went to see the Bahamians at Carifesta. And this thing, when you see the tents and I can't even describe it. You need to go there and see. I mean, what they did on the floor, they asphalted, you know, they put down asphalt, they cut down trees. All right. They cut down trees, they put up asphalt, they put down asphalt, they also put down tiling, they put down fake grass. These tents that are beautiful. And you wonder why is this set up in the middle of nowhere? What is going on? Can somebody tell us what is going on in Barbados? And you have police service not paid. Their hazard pay. Nurses not paid their hazard pay. Police service, prison officers not paid the pay they were supposed to get during COVID. Yeah. Teachers not getting their long leave.
Yeah, because it's all an attempt from this administration to look impressive in the public's eye. But and it's one of the reasons why, again, they didn't allow your march. Okay, because they don't want people coming here asking, why are these people marching? What's the reason behind these people marching? And then they're going online to find out, why are people marching through the streets of Bridgetown? Why are they talking so much? What is going on in Barbados? They don't want this administration just wants Barbados to look impressive, you know, and once Barbados looks impressive, they think that the world sees them as impressive. Now, you have to take care behind the backdrop of all of this Carry Festa Village and all of these events that you have going on. The backdrop of this is that this is an administration that does not take care of its people. It consistently lies. It consistently makes promises and don't fulfill their promises. It's an administration that just cannot keep its word. Okay, so we're going to see all of this hype. We're going to see a lot of fanfare. We're going to see all of this prestigious activity going on, but where the rubber hits the road, you're going to see that they have no real link. They have no real connection with the very people who are making sure that Barbados is safe and up to standard in terms of healthcare and protective services. You're going to see that they do not have a proper system of compensation to these individuals who are doing what's necessary to make Barbados better and competent on a daily basis.
Correct. You know, and this is why, you know, Apostle, we are we're doing the march, and I know you're coming out as well on September 6th, right? Once again, Dave, we don't want to announce that. Careful there on the thing. You know, we just what I want to say is that on Saturday at 10 o'clock, we are going out there in the hot sun on behalf of the police service. We are going to go out on behalf of the prison service, the prisoners. We are going, not the prisoners, are the prison officers, because they can't protest.
Yeah.
They can't protest. We're going out there on behalf of the nurses.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going out there on behalf of the teachers.
Yeah, we understand that, because the moment that they protest, their names are going to be selected, and you know what's going to happen next. Okay.
Correct.
Even Mr. Bab experienced that. So I can tell you the level of vindictive activity that comes out of this current administration is horrendous. And, you know, to be in an environment where you can, I mean, these are people that need to be paid, though. I mean, it's not that they're begging for their money. They deserve to have their money, you know. And I think we have to make a clear message, send a very clear message to this administration, not just pay these people, but pay them now. Okay, not just pay them now. That's the message that we need to send.
That's what we are saying on the 6th. Pay them now. Don't listen to me. Listen to me. You know, we started our topic tonight. Your freedom is voice activated. Nurses, start to say, pay me now.
Yeah.
Prison, the police service, police. We are looking to you to help us with the crime, and we're not paying you properly. You're not getting any pay for holidays. You work, and you're going to tell me you don't get any pay. I'm now even being told that police are not even covered. They don't have an insurance by the state to cover the police. What kind of madness? Yeah. What kind of madness is this?
We need to have a system, Madam Weekes. We need to have a system of either pay before the event or pay within 3 days to a week after the event. Okay, that system has to be developed so that that check does not go into the salary. It is a separate payment. Okay, because the work that is being required is a separate work. Okay, it is not a part of their regular, you know, job description. So I think it's critical that a new system be developed where the government can formulate a department that compensates their you know, the police and the nurses and those individuals when they have functioned you know, on levels. For instance, even after Carry Festa, you know, there's going to be a lot more garbage on locations,
right,
than normal, and people have to go in there and do the cleaning. You know, when I spoke to that lady who works with the NCC, no, I think it's the MTW that she works with. she began to explain to me that there are things that they encounter when they're cleaning the roads that are very unsanitary, you know. And I began to ask some questions about, the work ethics, and I even asked them about insurance, okay? Because it is my belief, as I said to her, the kind of work that you're doing, you should have some type of health insurance or medical insurance, okay? And our police officers don't have medical insurance, okay? That is something that they have to get on their own, and that is ridiculous.
I don't understand that. I don't
No,
understand
no,
that.
no, I'm telling you, I spoke to a senior, okay, a senior ranking police officer here in Barbados. They don't have medical insurance. The government does not provide medical insurance for them. They have to get it on their own. These folk that we see that are working here, and they outline, she outlined to me a number of, unsanitary things that has happened, when people are, like the guys are using the weed whackers and stuff like that. There are things in the grass, and sometimes it's affected them when, they hit certain bags that are filled with different things that are in them that ends up, coming into people's faces and their bodies and on their clothing and stuff like that. They're being exposed to those things. And I said, you guys don't have medical insurance, you don't have health insurance. It doesn't have to be huge coverage, just probably a $50,000 coverage, where you can probably take $100 or $50 or $75 out of their monies on a monthly basis. But they don't have those things. Our police men do not have life insurance. And I cannot understand how police officers do not have life insurance in Barbados. It's ridiculous.
And they can't really be unionized. So that means the people have to speak up for them. And
yeah, somebody has to speak up for them.
Yeah, that's why I've been saying when we started off the show tonight that, listen, our freedom is voice activated. And when we sometimes think, oh, well, that's the police and that's not me. That all of us need to raise our voices, and any administration, any government is saying to you, shut up, too much noise, you're talking too much. That administration is a dictatorship. Any administration is telling you you're making too much noise. Well, we are going out on next week Saturday at 10 o'clock, and we're going to make noise on behalf of the police. They cannot do it, but we are going to. We can call on a police where there. We have to call on the police if something goes wrong at our homes. We call on the police when you go to the hospital. Who takes care of you? A nurse. When you send your children to school, who's teaching them? A teacher.
Exactly. Huh? Well,
all of these people. If there's a fire, who you gonna call? Who you gonna call? The politician? You call the fire service.
Exactly.
And they have to work on holidays. To think of it, I think they're breaking the law. They must be breaking the labor laws in this country.
I'll tell you, I just returned to the island on yesterday, as you know, and I had the opportunity to speak to a senior nurse, and I actually brought some information back that I'm going to share with you privately, and then we'll probably look at if we can do a show on it. But she's a senior nurse at the facility that I happen to be visiting, and she said to me, she said, what's the problem with the Caribbean? She said, when I go home to Jamaica, I have to provide everything for my relatives that are in the hospital, bed linens to toiletries, everything. And she said, you know what is wrong with the Caribbean and Caribbean leaders? She said, it is because the money in the Caribbean is in the hands of the wrong people. She said it's in the hands of the wrong political leaders. That's why it never gets to the people. And this is exactly what we're seeing in Barbados. There is a very craftily devised system in this nation to make sure that money does not get to the people. And they don't seem to understand that when you are blocking money from the people it needs to get to, you're going to frustrate those people, you're going to anger them, you're going to interfere with their well-being, you're going to interfere with their livelihood, you're going to interfere with so many elements, their payments of their vehicles, their mortgages, their buying of food, their payment of bills. And many times when people get promises from the government, they're expecting the government to come through so that they can take care of their lives. But this government would rather people risk their lives and not compensate them.
Yeah,
as though this is some type of, you know, volunteer basis kind of thing. You know, when you come and ask someone to go above and beyond the call of duty, you think the way to compensate them is to lie to them? You think the way to make things better is to stay silent, and then if they speak out, all of a sudden you move them from this school, put them at another school, move them from this office, put them at another office, send them from Christchurch to St. Lucie. I know all these things happen. All of these things happen. I know that. And you know, we go back to realizing that even if you speak out in the Senate, they'll get rid of you. So you see this type of very vindictive behavior that is going on. And this is why these individuals, the police, the nurses, you know, or firemen or prison officers, you know, and or sanitation workers, you can see that they have gotten to the point where they are fed up with all of these lies. And I'll tell you, the day that they make a decision that they're going to stand down, this island is going to be in serious trouble. And it's very, very important for when they're borrowing that key individuals sit with them. As a matter of fact, I think the last amount of money that was borrowed was supposedly to help with our health care sector. I think that's what I heard it was about. So you want to tell me why we're still having all of these issues? So when you're talking health care, it's pretty much right across the board, Madam Weekes, right across the board. Okay, because health is not just in the area of, you know, sickness and disease and prevention and, you know, medication and all of that. It's right across the board. And again, you keep having an administration that would stand up in front of you, promise you, make huge promises to you, and 5 years later they have not fulfilled that promise. We got to watch ourselves.
5 years. As Leanna Bell is saying here, just before I read that, I don't want to forget, Dave, if you check your chat, the WhatsApp chat, you will see I sent you the salaries of some of the salaries of those who are in government, those of the MPs and so on, because they don't miss a beat in getting their pay. And this is what I'm saying. We need to make sure that we make so much noise in Barbados. We need to split their ears with noise on the 6th. And Leanna is saying, don't the family members of police and prison officers, etc., feel the pain of their loved ones and providers sacrificing and not being paid?
Okay.
What about the family members? If they can't come out and march, what about the family members of the police officers, the prison officers, the nurses? Come out and speak on their behalf. On their behalf. I'm sorry. Look at the Prime Minister.
Yeah, pretty much.
The Prime Minister, huh?
Pretty much.
Look at the Prime Minister. Look at this. I want people to look at this.
They get their money every month, like clockwork.
Every month. Every month. Right? Prime Minister, $226,000. Deputy Prime Minister Santia Bradshaw, 100. Yes, you're saying something, sir?
That's hopefully that's Barbadian money.
That's Barbadian money.
Okay.
Deputy Prime Minister, over $192,000. But you know what? I don't understand what's wrong with us. You would be reading this to people, and somehow Why is it that is going over your head? Why is it going through one ear and going through the next? Why isn't this kind of data, this information registering with you, Barbadians? Why? You think they're better than you are? Is it that you think that they should be given, that they are worth this amount of money, receiving this amount of money? Why isn't it connecting to in your brain? You were saying something, Apostle.
Yeah, don't, what's missing from that lineup is the total amount of the consultants that are getting 40,000 and plus a week. Okay.
A week. And you cannot pay your police officers. Look at the senior ministers. The senior ministers that they decided to create this because she's trying to keep everybody, quiet inside of there. So she developed this thing, senior ministers, because they have money to throw away. They have money to throw away, cannot pay the police, cannot pay the prison officers, won't pay the teachers properly. Right? Can't pay the nurses their hazard pay for 5 years. You promised them. But you are paying your senior ministers 192. What do they do? Other ministers 169. Now go over the other side. You're talking about their allowance. Somebody here says in the comment section says what? That the allowance that they are getting is what does this person say here? The entertainment allowance of the deputy prime minister is equivalent to what a senior police works for in a year. They go up to the top so that the people can see. Go up to the top so we can see what the headings are. No, yes. So this is entertainment allowance is in the second line. And this person says that the entertainment allowance of the deputy prime minister of $43,000 a year.
Okay.
It's entertainment allowance.
Well, 43,000.
43,000. They gave themselves a raise April the 1st, 2024. That was a promise that they kept to themselves. She promised them a raise and she gave them a raise. April the 1st, April 2024. But you were promised your hazard pay nurses.
Yeah, that's almost $4,000 a month in entertainment allowance. Okay. And the last time I checked with that consultant that was getting that amount of money, I think he was getting 40,000 a week. If I'm speaking on the correction. You go ahead and multiply that by 12, you're basically looking at pretty much over 4 million. Okay. And these guys are pushing, very, 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 very heavy levels of, the average Barbadian, and I told my members, listen to me carefully. If you are working for under $3,700 in Barbados right now, you're going to struggle. Okay? If you're working for under $3,700 in Barbados right now, you're going to struggle.
Per month, $3,700 a month.
$3,700 per month. Okay? $3,700 per month. Right? You're going to struggle. Right? I told them that you're going to struggle if so I just did that calculation, 40,000, that comes at $2,080,000 a year. And these guys are struggling to get $500,000 between all of them. It's crazy.
Yeah, that is. Can you imagine? You're looking here, and I want Barbadians. I don't understand. You gotta help me, because I don't know if something like this doesn't get you fired up. You could owe people. Listen to me. The prime minister alone is getting up to $250,000, right, a year with her entertainment allowance and everything, more than $250,000 a year, and they owe prison officers combined, right, $500,000.
Well, let me just say this. Let's go back to cricket World Cup 2 years ago. You notice that the ministers, each of them had new BMWs, electric vehicles. Okay. And I'm going to tell you, each of those vehicles, at least the purchase of 2 of those vehicles could have sorted out this payment for the prison officers.
Say that again, Rev. Say that again. Dave put back the thank you, Dave. Put back the,
right. So
the car. Because hold a minute, this is an MP car here.
Yeah,
this is
right.
an MP that
car.
you have not seen in your constituency forever. Go ahead, Pastor.
Okay. So 2 of these vehicles could have paid the prison officers. The cost of 2 of these vehicles could have paid, and the ministers of parliament had all of these vehicles, brand new, and they already had vehicles that they're using. And this was done for a World Cup that again was not successful. Okay, and you want to look at the consistency. We had the hurricane, we had the fisher folk who had damage to their boats, lost their boats. Yet compensation to them was very, very slow. Okay, so what we're seeing is a consistent behavior from this administration. A lot of talk, a lot of asking people to go above and beyond the call of duty, promising that they will be compensated for it, and then no response to them. It's a common thread. We're seeing it over and over and over. And at some point in time, you need people to understand you really can't have this kind of individual, leading your country, because this is a bad message that we're sending to individuals. We're sending to our nation. You can make promise to people, do things, and then, break your word. We got to be very careful with that. Very careful.
Apostle, I listened to you speaking, and I just want to commend you, because this is where we need the church, we need the pastors to come out to speak about this injustice. Look at the car. Look at the car. Yeah, you tell me if Christ or our Lord was walking this earth, if this would not be an issue that he would pick up. You are talking about those that serve among us, and you can't even pay them for their working on holidays. What you do? Are we in slavery in Barbados? You can't even pay the prison officers that's supposed to keep the prisoners inside there, away from the citizens.
Mm-hmm.
You can't pay the police. We're being riddled with crime. But you are paying yourselves all of this money. They put back the money on the screen, because I want people to understand. You created a category called senior ministers and put them. You're paying for, as somebody said, about four senior ministers what you're paying for the deputy prime minister, because you're trying to keep quiet in your community, in your cabinet. You're keeping them quiet and happy. And we are suffering as a result of this.
Now, as I said, the average 37, I told my members that, which means you want to find something to compensate to bring your total amount per month to 3,700. At 3,700, you can pretty much float, you can pretty much do certain things. But if you are doing under $3,700 in Barbados right now as an individual, you are going to struggle if you're under that. So at $3,700 a month, the total comes to $44,400 a year. So the average Barbadian is still pretty much at that level, still under the bracket, a particular certain bracket here in the island of Barbados. It's very, very critical what's happening. So our people are being forced into poverty Okay. And when you have a clearly devised system like that, they're going to do what they need to do to keep the system very low key, because if you want people to vote, you need people to vote come election. You need people who are dependent on the government. But if you let people become wealthier, they'll forget about the government. They won't have to worry about the government. They have to worry about how high taxes are, because they're making their money. And again, it becomes very, very important for every Barbadian to take a note of where they are. So the mere fact that you're living in Barbados, you're going through life, is going to become more and more difficult for you to own a home, to build a home. It's going to become more and more difficult for you to own a car. Things are going to shift, outside of the place where you need to be. It is going to become harder. The prices at the supermarket, they're going to be higher. So you're not going to be able to break even. And that's why I sat down, I looked at that, and I said, okay, this is the amount that we need to be at. So if you're $2,500 a month, if you're, renting, paying for a vehicle, paying bills, buying food, paying for gas to run that vehicle, then paying to get it serviced, sending your kids to school, buying clothes for them, taking care of yourself, buying groceries, taking care of your utilities, you're going to struggle. If you're doing $2,500 to $3,000, you need that extra $700 to at least break even. So I told my members this, they are aware of it. I told them, if you're doing under $3,700 a month, that's going to be problematic. So if you have a government that can operate in this type of lavish spending, but it's difficult for them to pay those persons who are helping to assist their government to maintain some level of safety and health in the nation, and you can't pay those people, there's something seriously wrong with you. Seriously wrong with you.
Yeah, and listening to you, this affects all of us, because these
Yeah, it
police
does.
officers, the police officers, the teachers, the nurses, they're in our homes. They live somewhere. They have a family, and
Yeah,
when
they
they're
do.
not paid well, then the children cannot eat well. Now we are back to school. Parents have to find money for back to school. These policemen, they're parents. They have children of their own. The
Of
prison
course.
officers have children of their own. You understand that? So this is why I'm saying this callousness that's in the society, where you're okay with your pay, but you don't care about the police officers. You pastors that are in your churches, and you don't preach about this from your pulpit. You don't
Yep.
use your pulpit for this. That is wrong. I am saying that tonight. I'm going out on a limb, and I'm speaking to you, those spiritual leaders in this country. This is the injustice that Christ would speak about. How
Yep.
could they be paying themselves? They set the salary for themselves.
Yep.
They
Yep.
have set these salaries for themselves. They have set the pension. Remember, they went ahead and put in law that you work till 67, but they didn't move theirs.
Yep.
They didn't move
Exactly.
theirs.
Exactly.
According to them, they're still at 50. She said she will look at it. Lies.
Yeah. No, I actually spoke to a sergeant, a police sergeant, and and this was possibly at the march, just having a conversation with him, and I said, I know you've been in the force long, because I remember him way back with a former officer who was passed now. I said, I know you. I said, how long you been around, man? He said, he said he's in his 35th year as a police officer. Okay. And I said, wow, man. I said, that's really long. And I said, would you mind if I ask you about what your salary is? And he said, sure. He said, I can't give you the total number. He says, as a sergeant, he says it's under 25. So I know he's struggling.
Wow,
You
per
know
month.
what? It's under 25. You didn't give me the amount, but it's under 2,500 a month.
Yeah, we did it on here. It's a little over 2,000 that some of these policemen get. So
Yeah,
what you're
as
gonna
a
think that
sergeant.
they will take bribes? It's
As a
possible.
sergeant.
Let me
As
take
a
that back.
sergeant.
What I want to say is that it's possible for them to take bribes.
Yeah, as a sergeant. Are you kidding me? A police sergeant is going home with under $2,500, and the guys on the block are being paid thousands. Are you kidding me? Are you listen? No, there's no way that this should be allowed in Barbados.
Should
There's
not.
no way this should be allowed. Absolutely no way. And you want these people to keep going above and beyond the call of duty, because when you have, massive cricket events, you have massive entertainment events at the Oval, when you have Carry Festa, when you have Crop Over, you have Soca on the Hill, Jazz on the Hill, Reggae on the Hill, all of these events, you need to have the members of the Barbados Police Service there. Okay, so when you, and these are not events that are on their yearly calendar, these are not events that are part of their job description. Okay, so that's why I said we need to have a structured system that when those police officers who work these shows that are outside and above and beyond their calls, some of these shows finish at 1, 2, and 3 in the morning, that these individuals are compensated via a different system, that they don't have to wait, we're going to put this on your next salary. No, 5 years later, someone hasn't been paid. That's ridiculous for a government to be operating at a ridiculous level.
Yeah, as Eugene, very much so. As Eugene says, that all this information needs to reach those persons who don't normally watch the show. We might be speaking to the already converted, and that concerns me. That a lot of us, we ask you to like and share, and some people I know don't even know. Our senior citizens don't know how to do it. But tell people about the show, and tell them when you go to work on in your offices, talk about these things. Talk to them about what happened. Take a snapshot, take a shot of this or of the on the screen, and go and talk, have conversation with them. If they don't watch the show, pass the information or bring them with you to the march, because we are creating placards. Apostle, we've started to make those placards that people will carry that will say, pay them now. Pay them now.
Pay them now. That's what we need to say. Pay them now.
Pay them now. We need to be able to say, Apostle,
we're going to help you get your money. Yeah, that's what we need. We need to say, that's the message. We need to we're going to help you get your money. Okay, we're going to help you get your money. Okay, because we want the world, we want folk that they bring here from Dubai. We want the folk that they bring here from Africa and giving free land to. We want the folk from Argentina. We want the folk from around the world. We want all these folk that they're bringing here and trying to, make it look like Barbados is a safe zone and we got everything you need. Come over here and enjoy yourself, enjoy your life. We'll give you everything that you need. We need to let all those people know, okay, these folk are not paying their service industry personnel. Okay, they're not paying their protective personnel. Okay, you look at Dubai, you see the kind of infrastructure they have. You look at the type of vehicles that their police are driving. You look at the systems that they have set up, and then you're coming here to get. I mean, these folk that are coming here to link with this administration, they need to really pay close attention to what's really going on in Barbados before they sit down and sign any new legislation, sign any new contract with these folk. They really need to pay attention. They need to drive through areas like Indian Ground, French Village, and Fort Hill and see the condition of the roads. Then they really need to see what's going on and then ask themselves the question, do we really need to get in bed with folk who are not taking care of their nation? Do we really need to be lending them all of this money when we have seen for ourselves that they are incapable of, taking care of their own country? This is only 166 square miles, Madam Weekes. This is not a large country. This is 14 by 21 for God's sake. 11 parishes. You're telling me that you can't handle that? You can't handle 11 parishes? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You can't handle 11 parishes and make sure that everything is proper. Listen, we're looking at this, and let me just say this very, very quickly. Look, you got one hospital that is not functioning properly. Okay? And then you have your clinics that aren't, many of them that aren't 24 hours. Okay? Barbadians got to be rushed to either Sandy Crest. You go to Sandy Crest, it's a large lump sum of money to be attended there. So you're forcing Barbados, quick trap, fast trap. And then, oh God, don't talk about the A&E. You're going to be there 3 days before you see a doctor. Okay? All of these are things that we're looking at. Road conditions. We don't just need more buses. We need the system to work. Okay? We need a proper system. We need it properly implemented, and we need it properly monitored. Okay? And we're not seeing that happening. So you have a lot of folk who are talking, on a level of impressiveness, moving at all these levels. But when you really get to where things need to be working, where the systems that need to be working, they're not working properly. And
Yes.
all of this.
Someone is calling. We have a caller. We have a caller,
Sure.
Pastor. Hold your thought there. Thank you. Go ahead, caller. Turn down your devices. Caller, you have to turn down your device, okay? You're on the show. Thank you. Good night.
Good night, Marcia.
Yes.
This is Judy Jones.
Yes, Judy.
Yes, that salary that the Prime Minister got there should cut, pay the nurses, the doctors, the police, the defense force. All that should owe money to, because I was a hostess and the QEH. I didn't get my hazard pay money neither. I want money. I'm a patient want raising. Because I can't have a patient in the supermarket every day. You go in the supermarket, the things rising. I went outside last week, this week now it gone back, it gone up. That money that she could get the pensioners is very stupid money. Take some of the money off of she, and she deputy prime minister, and she senior ministers, and pay the people, and pay me my money.
You're right. So you're owed your hazard pay because you're a hostess at the.
I was a hostess inside the hospital.
During COVID.
Yes, please.
Wow.
All right. There you go. There you go.
Prison officers, the policemen, the D4, the defense force people, all of these people that she off on 2022, pay me the money.
Yes. Now, Judy, I know you normally come to the marches, right? What do you say to the people?
I have to be at the front. You have to got me at the front, and I'm gonna be at the front.
Why do you come to these marches, Judy?
Because this government is doing a whole set of BS. She needs to stop. Make sure that the Barbadian people have the rights to do what they feel like, and Barbados don't bring the foreigners in here to do as they like. Which I am dropping this to nobody. As like you call you the Bajan, you're a foreigner. You're here 20 years.
Yes.
So she needs to stop. Let the Bajans got the rights and don't sell up the land. When she sell up the land, no, she pushing me back inside and gave the tours and all the beach side. I want got my beach now.
Yeah,
She need to stop what? Give the Bajans the privilege and the priorities. Yes, the flag there up, and that's the body that hold the flag.
I know.
And they continue to hold more than the flag.
Yes. Well, Judy, I just want to thank you for calling, and I know you're going to be out on Saturday. We are going. Yeah, we are going to keep the pressure on until they pay you guys. Everybody's going to be paid. I'm telling you, every single person is going. We're going to fast. We're going to pray. Right? We're going to march. We're going to do all that we need to do. Everybody. Everybody gonna get their money.
Yes, ma'am.
We must wear black, yellow, and blue.
Mm-hmm.
The other color we don't want.
So Judy setting the colors of the march already. Yes, yes. Put it up. Yes, 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 yes. Somebody else is calling. Well, Judy, thank you so much for calling, and I'm hoping that people that we understand the importance of standing up for everybody.
And then people take a screenshot of the money that the foreign ministers getting.
Yes. Thank you. Anybody, thank you, Judy, for calling. Anybody else that you're owed money or you have something to say about this, call in, please. Call in. Okay. Yes, yes, wonderful. Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna ask the caller who just called to call back. Please call back. Thank you, Judy. Thank you for calling. Right. Okay, wonderful. We have another caller. A caller, welcome to the Marcia Weekes Show. Thank you so much for calling.
Hi, good night, Marcia. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm just concerned about the police officers. I'm concerned about the firemen. I'm concerned about the nurses and the teachers who are being unfair in this country.
I am as equally as concerned as you have, and the good apostle himself would like to you, sir.
Good night. Good night.
I could agree more with everything that the apostle has sought to enlighten the loyal opposition and many other people online, because this government continues to be a government unto its own self and seems not to think that they're answerable to the people that put them there in the first place. So they're living in some kind of disillusionment that they think that they don't need to answer to no one. No matter how many marches we do, they try to write you off, try to put you down. But we want to let them know that when we march with a message. We march on the premises that people will hear us and understand where we are coming from. We just want to march because we got energy and we feel like doing something on a Saturday morning, hot boiling sun. You know, we do it with a purpose. This government has no purpose, because if you put a whole set of consultants, I didn't hear the apostle mention this because I joined there. I want to set up a curriculum of consultants that are paid humongous amounts of money, but yet you have people scrambling to find a meal, scrambling to pay the rent that due, scrambling to get school things for the children to go back to school. But yet, you ain't hear about education transformation.
Yes.
I mean, that's a complete joke. Mm-hmm. Really, what's so transformative about changing Form 1, Form 2 to grade this and grade the next?
But if we just when you think about it, caller, you know, a lot of these they're doing this education transformation. The teachers will have to carry it out. But there's a lot of noise coming through. A lot of noise.
Okay, can you hear me?
We can hear you just a lot where you are. There's a lot of noise, but yeah. What I'm
but I totally agree. I totally agree with everything you're saying, because you can't just sit there and transforming education. They want to get rid of the 11 plus exam. I mean, we could go on like talking about the belligerence.
Yeah.
Of this government. So you got people know it all. They've been talking about it for the first time. We started this. You know, they're trying to.
Yeah.
I give you kudos for being strong and standing in the pit. And I stand with you all the time, Marcia. You don't know that. Always got your back.
Yes. Well, so, thank you, caller. But we're gonna have to go because of the noise. But thank you, caller, for calling. Thank you.
No problem. No problem.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. You know, there's a comment. I will thank the callers for calling. People, you can call in. The numbers on the screen. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your thoughts about all we've discussed tonight. important that you call in at this time. But I also want to correct, the caller says, I'm going to stand with you, Marcia. And that's what I appreciate him for saying that. And I understand why he said that. But I want us to kind of change that paradigm. It's not so much standing with me, it's standing with each other. You understand what I'm saying? It's us standing with each other. It's not, because it's not really my fight, if you get me, right? Okay, we have a caller. Okay, caller, good night. You will have to turn down your device. Thank you for calling the Marcia Weekes Show. It's a pleasure to have you on tonight, sir. What's on your mind?
Yeah, blessings to you, Marcia Weekes. So blessings to Reverend Scatterbury. My name is Terrell.
Yes, sir.
Good night. Good night.
Good night. My biggest problem, right? Like, with this government, they want to set bills that for you to point people on courts, etc. But they don't want to pay with them old people. But the honest truth, right? People need to go get brave and go to work for a little bit, because when you check it, when you shop in your country, it sends a strong message to them. This is Barbados Party, because the Barbados Party taking the adjust for granted and it's making Barbados mentality. You know what I'm saying? So basically, in Barbados, the people live back, and we got to come around live back, we're going to be here, and now we never get results.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what everybody should come out to this march, and not only this march, all the rest of marches, but otherwise than that, come out otherwise as make noise on that for their rights, because the honest truth was going like Barbados is a lot of dark, even sinister behavior and a lot of corruption, and they don't like it. Because the honest truth, no, right? What happened to one Bajan is going to happen to others, and the honest truth, that's when things are turning side that they got pulled. So we got to take away the power, and we got to be brave and come out and stand and make a stand and really show them what we stand for.
Yes, very much so, very much so. And that's why we're coming out. We're standing up for ourselves, not for Marcia Weekes. I'm not a police. I'm not a teacher. When I teach what I used to do by my private, I'm not a nurse. I'm not any of that, right? So it is about us, the loyal opposition, this pressure group.
All of us in Barbados in this together. All
Right.
of us in Barbados in this together.
Yes, we're in it together. Thank you so much. Thank you, caller.
All right, that's just everyone.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
I love it.
Okay. Okay, we need to. Okay, thank you. Wow. Yeah. Apostle, this is something else. Yeah.
Yeah. It's getting I think people are beginning to wake up. It's a little bit slow, but as I said, I've been talking to some individuals about this, because I'm always trying to keep my ears to the ground and to see what's happening. The principle is on this wise, that when you realize that something is consistently happening, because there should be no way that time and time again that individuals from these key service industry sectors should come to the public or go to the media to let the public know that they're not being paid. This should not be happening so consistently. Something is wrong. And I think Barbadians need to really come out and show their support for this. And the issue is, and I'll say it again, pay them now. Okay? If you have all of this money for Carifesta and all this stuff, pay these people now. Pay them their monies now. And that's what we're making a demand. We're making a demand that they get paid. They need to take care of their home and their families. They need what is owed to them to be given to them. This is not an obligation, that they have to go out there and do whatever is necessary when you have these big events. But when you make a promise to these people, you need to be paying them. This nonsense, this type of activity needs to stop, because it's going to send a bad message to our young people that you can make deals with individuals and break them. You can scam people, swindle them, make them believe that you're going to come through, and then you don't. So this is sending a horrible message to our youth, and I think we need to do something to stop it right now, because it's going to have extenuating factors where you have a government that is consistently showing to its people that we're not going to we're going to lie, we're going to get you to do what you need to do, and 5 years later we still need to follow through with our end of what we agreed with you to do. So we have to be very, very careful going forward. Very careful.
Yeah, as someone says that those pay rates should go viral. In talking to some people, I realize Bajans really don't know what's going on, or they're ignoring the truth. A lot of them are out at that reggae show tonight, and they are out and they're having so much fun, and that is part of what they do to keep the masses uneducated, uninformed, just not bothered about what's going on,
Exactly.
out of touch. It's almost like you're numbing the pain of what we're feeling with the liquor and the dancing and the dressing up and all of that. We have another caller. Good night, caller. I guess just welcome, but just kindly turn down your yes, thank you so much. Appreciate it. It's a pleasure having you on the line, caller. What's on your mind tonight, sir?
Silence is on my mind.
They came after the children with that test, that test, and some of us remain silent. They lie to us about the courthouses. Still, some of us remain silent. They change the use of land down in Waterford so that they can put up a hospital, and some of us still remain silent. There's a lot of traffic going down that way now towards a party, supposed to be a silent zone later on, and some of us still remaining silent. The police owes money owed to them. Money is owed to the prison. Some nurses, some of us still remaining silent. Marcia, I'm saying this very seriously. Yeah, yes, because this is Marcia.
Good night. What's the name of the little guy there? They're saying if that's Marcia. Hi, Kyle. You're watching. Kyle, you're watching the Marcia Weekes Show.
Auntie Marcia. She asked if you're watching the show.
Yeah.
Good night, Kyle. Good night, Kyle. Thank you for watching the show. Go ahead.
Right. But the thing about it is that the more we remain silent, it's going to come a time where the harm is going to fall right on our heads. And because of our silence, there won't be nobody to stand up for us. I believe that a lot of things could change if not for the silence of people who ought to say something. Could you imagine that join the job? You are going to encourage people of influence to join in the whole jobbing exercise, and yet still some of us remain silent. I am no longer going to be silent. I was silent for too long. And I believe there's about time that people start speaking up and letting their voices be heard. Because the more silent we are, we're going to find ourselves back
in the days of where we don't even want to think about slavery.
Correct.
You know, things are happening too quick, as I said before, and there's a reason why it's happening fast, and people are being silenced too fast also. You know, this should never be happening. Spending millions and still people are owed millions and we are still silent. Come on.
Yeah.
Something is wrong here.
Serious.
Yes, it is definitely wrong. Definitely wrong. Thank you so much, caller, for calling. That would be our last caller for the night. Very well said, caller. Really appreciate your calls. We have to close tonight because it's 10:06. Thank you, caller. We have on the screen, Apostle, the flyer, and we want people to start. Today's Friday, and we want you to. It's next week Saturday, not tomorrow. Right. We want people to start making preparations. Do your shopping early. Do what you need to do. Judy has already set what we're wearing: blue, yellow, and black. She said that's what we're wearing. So, you know, folks, get your clothes ready for the march on the 6th. Right? Remember, thank you, Dave. This is gonna wake you up if you're sleeping. I'm gonna make some noise right now. Listen, folks, you've got to bring something to make noise. Bring a spoon, bring a pot cover, bring a pot, bring some whistles. We're getting some whistles, right? Bring something, okay? We are going to make the noise. We have gotten, we're working on getting some people with drums and with, you know, with the cymbals. If you have a cymbal, bring a cymbal. You have a drum. We're going to make noise. We're going to make we're going back to what our ancestors did. You understand? We're going back. We're reaching back before we even came here. We're going back into our DNA. We're taking that back, all the way back. You understand? Before they convinced us we were passive. We're going way back there. All right. So before we close, any final word there, Apostle, as we go?
Well, listen, I'm just going to say what I said from the beginning. Let's pay them now. And we will not stop until they are paid. Okay. We need the security. We need our nurses to be living good lives that they can provide better service. We need our policemen. We need our sanitation workers. We need all these individuals that went above and beyond the call of duty. None of these people should be coming to the media to let the public know that they have not been paid in over 5 years after being promised. That should never happen in Barbados. So we're saying pay them now. That's the demand that we're making.
Yes, very much so. Thank you so much, Apostle. Thank you for joining
You're
us.
welcome.
Thank you, Marcia. Marcia Hines, Myri. Thank you for an excellent session. And we know Mr. Bob is going to join us again very soon.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we have a special show that's going to be on Monday with former Minister of Culture, Stephen Lashley, will be with us on Monday. And of course, we have a regular show on Sunday night. Okay. All right.
Yes,
God bless you all and see you. Go ahead, Dave. You can play the song.
Cover in the air. Let the leaders hear. If this is noise, then we join make noise tonight. If this is noise, then make more noise. Noise is power, the people voice. Hey, bring your drum, your whistle, your gun shell clear. Back over spoon, let them all hear. If this is noise, then make more noise. Noise is power in us. Bring your drum, your whistle, your gun shell clear. Noise is power, we can fight. Asian blocks united, strong together. Marching in sun, marching in bad weather. We love Barbados, so we resist. Noise is the weapon they can't dismiss. If this is noise, then make more eyes. Noise is holy wise. Bring your drum, your whistle, your conch shell clear. Back over spoon, let them all hear. If this is noise, then make more eyes. Noise is holy wise. Bring your drum, your whistle, your conch shell clear. Back over spoon, let them all hear. Drum in your hand, whistle in your teeth. Conch shell blow, feel the pressure beat. Back over glass, spoon strike the sky. Noise is the language, freedom reply. Noise, noise, noise. Beat them pot, beat them pot. Noise, noise, noise. Bills can't stop the people lot. Bad governance, yeah, all we got. Noise mash up silence in every town. From Kensington march to Broad Street Square. Noise tell the leaders the people care. Pride is power, people is power. We rising strong in the final hour. Bring your drum, your whistle, your conch shell, yeah. Back over spoon, let them all hear. If this is noise, then make more noise. Noise is poor noise. Bring your drum, your whistle, your conch shell clear. Back over spoon, let them all hear.
Bye-bye. Make the noise. Yes, guys. See you on September 6th, next week, Saturday. Wow. Awesome. On the road. Pure